Hey, what's up, everybody? Holy shit, YouTube actually sent out notifications like they're supposed to. Holy crap, that's insane. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in. Welcome, welcome. How's everybody doing? Can you guys see me well? Can you guys hear me well? Let me know. Thank you guys all very much for tuning in. We got a lot to talk about today. This was quite the chapter. What's that song you were playing? The link will be in the link to that should be in the description. It was song is called Honey Lights by Harris Heller. It is part of StreamBeats. So he has like a complete playlist on Spotify. That's what I was playing it off of. But yeah. I'm already seeing it now. When is the next RWBY video? I'm getting back to RWBY after RWBY goes on break. So after this weekend, hopefully. But yeah. I actually need this hiatus to kind of focus solely on season 13 because I thank God for the hiatus because I honestly am struggling to do both. Hey, what's up, Game Assassin? Welcome if this is your first live stream. Was just watching your RTX vlog. Oh my God, those are... How old is that now? That's like 4 years old. Holy snaps. Hope you enjoy it. That was a really fun experience. My first RTX experience, yeah. But yeah, thank you guys all so much for tuning in. So... the live stream technically was supposed to start at 5 p.m., but what I want to start doing, what I want to start doing from here on out for the live streams is going live 30 minutes beforehand and just chatting with you guys, just like shooting the breeze, just talking about stuff, letting people join. You know, just because I don't really do that all that often. It's usually just joining, letting people, you know, come in, and then we start the discussion. So the discussion is actually going to start in like 30 minutes. So for the next 30 minutes, I'm just here vibing, chilling with you guys. And I'm going to try to do that for the remainder of the discussions for the second half of the volume and obviously the future volumes and stuff like that. How was Among Us? I'm assuming you're referring to Among Us with Rooster Teeth that I did a couple weeks ago. That was really fun, honestly. Actually, with the hiatus coming up, I'm actually going to be playing Among Us a lot more. Hopefully streaming it on my Twitch, because that was the first time I ever streamed Among Us, and I got a lot of viewers, and obviously the Rooster Teeth collaboration helped, but I don't know, I handled it a lot better than I thought I would. I thought I'd be a lot more like all over the place. Of course, I wasn't able to interact with chat as much just because you know, because you're worrying about doing your tasks, and if you're the killer, you're worrying about like, you know, not being too sus, and, you know, you like my attention's like 4 different ways, especially when you're streaming and you want to read chat and read alerts and stuff like that and greet people. So it was definitely a bit much to handle initially, but then I was just focused solely on the game, but it was really, really fun. Any future games you're excited about? To be honest, I know this is gonna sound crazy because like I love RWBY and all that, but I'm really happy that we're getting a break. I honestly haven't been able to do much of anything outside of volume, you know, volume 8, like reactions and prepping for discussions, and here and there I'll be able to sneak in like a 1 4-hour live stream during the week for like Genshin, but hopefully during the next like couple weeks during the hiatus, you know, during the mid-season finale, I really want to like open my PS5 and play that. I haven't played Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory yet. I'm a huge Kingdom Hearts fan. Haven't played that yet, so I want to be able to play Melody of Memory. I want to play Spider-Man Miles Morales because, you know, that's on PS5. I want to play Demon Souls. I know Genshin Impact is going to have a really big update in the next week. And that's obviously it comes out a couple of days before the holiday break. I'm not interested in Cyberpunk 2077. Like, even before, like, I'm hearing nonstop talk about it right now. Like, it's kind of like an all over the place experience right now. I was never interested in playing Cyberpunk. to be honest. So personally, that's just a game that I really have no interest in playing whatsoever. But yeah, what's your opinions on Zhongli and Albedo? Albedo's cool. For lore purposes, I'm really excited about him because, he's Sucrose's, basically Sucrose is like his apprentice. So in terms of their interactions, I'm excited about. I don't really like sword wielders. I know he's Geo and a sword wielder, so I'm not too crazy about, like, his kit. I'm honestly more interested in his character, his backstory, and how he plays a role in the lore. And the overall story more than anything. And Zhongli, I haven't even seen him in the story yet because I'm still going through Liyue. So it's taken me a little bit of a while, but hopefully I'll have more of an opinion on Zhongli. But I haven't really played him all that much in the game either. Let's see. Ren Marie. Ren Marie, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Hey Arnold, congrats on 1,000 patrons. Happy holidays to my favorite RWBY tuber. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, I made a post. I put it on Twitter, on YouTube, and on Patreon about just the journey that I've had as a content creator and how I was really able to start doing all of this full time because of my Patreon support all the way back in 2016 after RWBY Volume 3. And yeah, I never thought I'd have that many patrons, that much support that enables me to be able to do these live streams every year for RWBY, or the reactions every year, or the gaming content, or anything else like that. So I definitely appreciate all the support, especially like the YouTube support helps immensely, the Twitch support helps immensely. But yeah, I mean, ultimately Patreon is what keeps the lights on. It's what puts food on the table for the most part. It's the lion's share of my support, and without that I wouldn't be able to do this. So I was really, really surprised to hit that big of a milestone in 2020 of all years, because this year hasn't been the best for me overall. But thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate the kind words. Happy holidays to you as well. StarCraft Squall, hey Arnold, hiatus idea. Have a RWBY Tubers Among Us game and interact with the other reactors. Any chance of that happening over the break? I can't guarantee that right on the spot, because that you just presented the idea to me. Typically I primarily have been playing Among Us, or rather the Among Us games that I have played have mainly been with some close friends of mine in my Discord server. That idea isn't outside of the realm of possibility. It's all just a matter of coordinating, seeing what day works best for everybody else, and planning a day to do something like that. But I mean, it's a good idea overall, and it doesn't just have to be over the break. It can be at any given point, especially after the new update for Among Us comes out that they showed at the Game Awards. Let's see. I'm skipping the new banner because Ganyu, Ice Amber. What do you think? I'm always interested in new characters. I'm more interested in just having the characters, not necessarily building or needing to have every single character built to like max items and levels and stuff like that. I'm just interested to see how these characters, how the characters more so than anything, how they enrich the story. Like, that's what I care about, the story of Genshin more than anything else. So, yeah, a new character coming into the fray is always exciting. Let's see. Hey, Curtis, Snap. I'm sorry, Curtis Knapp. I don't know why I said Snap. Curtis Knapp, thank you so much for becoming a channel member. I appreciate that. Thank you. But yeah, thank you guys all so much for tuning in. Again, like I said, we're going to be starting the discussion in about 20 minutes. Oh, Rachel, I see you in the chat. Welcome. Long time no see. Hope you've been well. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you for the kind words. It's great to see you. Hope you're doing well. I'm hoping you're going to relax and take a breather during the mid-season finale. I know a lot of you guys on the RWBY definitely deserve it for all the work that you guys have put into the show so far. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's see. Has anyone played Ghost of Tsushima? I have not played the game yet, but I own the game, have not played it. I don't even know when I'd get around to playing that, honestly. San Fimple. Really excited for this discussion, Arnold. You're my go-to guy for great in-depth discussions on RWBY. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. Like, this is a backstory, a big piece of the RWBY puzzle that we've been waiting for 7-8 volumes now. Like, Cinder has been in the show since episode 1, and it's been a long-awaited mystery as to, like, her backstory, what drove her to become the person she is today, what drove her to ally herself with someone like Salem and go along with this, you know, crusade, like this end of the world crusade for Salem. And obviously I feel like there are some things that we can at least understand a bit more about Cinder, but I don't think we really got everything. At least I didn't feel like we got everything. Or rather, I should say, everything wasn't given to me to where I'm just like, okay, Cinder, you're not too bad of a character. Like, I at the very least am happy to have that information. I no longer have to speculate or dwell on theory crafting or anything like that. It's like cut and dry, like where she came from, how she was brought up, the decisions that were made that influenced who she is now. A lot of that is able to be understood a lot more. You're basically able to understand her a lot more through her upbringings. But other than that, I don't know, there's just some things that I still feel like are unanswered. Were you happy with what we did get? It's back and forth, honestly. I feel like the wait wasn't worth it necessarily. Like, I don't think anything is worth waiting 7-8 volumes for, you know what I mean? I feel like if we had gotten this backstory a little earlier, it would have had a, I don't know, it would have, it's weird though, because it's like a butterfly effect. Like, if we had gotten it sooner, would things have still played out the same way for how they have carried Cinder's character so far? I feel like her backstory was very vanilla for the most part. If I don't really know how to describe that, but like, it was very closely parallel to her character inspiration. And I get it, like the Cinderella reference is a big thing, you know, but it also had the evil stepmom, the stepsisters, the glass reference, you know, the midnight reference. I felt like it was a little too parallel to that. I wish it did something unexpected in that regard. But yeah, I mean, I'll definitely get more into it when we get into the discussion itself, but I'm just happy that we got something. You know what I mean? I'm just happy that we understand where Cinder came from. We can at least understand a lot of her underlining, I guess her mental anguish with how she feels about following someone like Salem and how that reminds her of her past and all of that stuff. Actually got the notification this time? I know, right? YouTube's actually doing their job. So yeah, last week a lot of people either joined late or missed the discussion outright because YouTube didn't send out notifications when I went live. So people were slowly joining over the course of the discussion, but a lot of people, you know, joined in the middle of the discussion or towards the end of it or what have you. So, but yeah, I mean, ultimately the VOD's up, so hopefully you guys were able to tune into that. Let's see. Little Freak, thank you for the $10 super chat. Hello, Arnold. I just wanted to say thank you for these discussion videos. It's been a pretty stressful week, but your live streams give me something to look forward to. Thank you. Another thing I want to mention, thank you very much for the $10 super chat, Little Freak. I'm really happy to hear that, and hopefully this discussion and next week's will be, you know, a good send-off for 2020. Or a swan song for 2020, and I look forward to the second half, especially with how tomorrow's chapter is going to leave us off. But What I do want to mention, also, Luca Blight, thank you for the $5 super chat. It should have been in volume 4. It was, wait, it should have been in volume 4 with it being paralleled with her growth as a maiden. Yeah, I mean, I think that's also the, I don't know, it's weird though, because volume 4, we got I think we got like the least of Cinder during volume 4. Like, right, she was recovering, she wasn't talking at all, she was like severely like defeated. I don't know, it's hard to say where it really would have fit in, or where Rooster Teeth initially had their thoughts, because I'm pretty sure Miles mentioned that Cinder's backstory is something they've wanted to tell for a while. They just, I don't know if it kept getting pushed back, or they didn't know where was a good point to put it. Cinder was really relevant in volume 4. I think she was more relevant in volume 5, honestly. Like volume 4, it's like she was in the, you know, the only time that she was ever really present was in the first episode when we found out she lost her voice and she was all fucked up from her fight, you know, from the silver-eyed powers. And then we saw her again when Salem was like, "Oh, did you kill Ozpin? I want you to tell me that you killed Ozpin." And then I think like at the end when she was like training her powers. But I think volume 5, Cinder was way more relevant than volume 4. Maybe volume 4 because she was defeated, she was in a vulnerable state, and maybe that's some good point. That's like she's at her lowest of the low that we saw her for the first time, and maybe that's where we could have built something with the backstory. I can understand that, but I don't think Cinder was as relevant in volume 4 as she was in volume 5. Maybe her backstory would have been relevant for that point in time for where she was as a character. But yeah, I you know what I mean? Because, like, you know, parallels-wise, she also just got wrecked. She also lost a big fight, and that's what, you know, that's how the episode started. It was following another defeat. So, okay, but really quick, before we get into any other conversations or topics, or before I ramble on again, next week's discussion will be on Wednesday, okay? And the reason it's going to be on Wednesday is because Thursday is Christmas Eve, and Friday is Christmas Day, and then Saturday, the last episode of the volume for this year comes out. So there's really no other point or no other place that I can have the discussion. I feel like having the live stream discussion after the episode's available, or after even my reaction is out, I feel like it's not, like, usually, I feel like my live stream discussions are most effective before the corresponding episode is available. So, yeah, I think the live stream discussion will be on Wednesday, which means I'm just gonna have to work a day earlier to get the live stream prepped and all that stuff. Isn't that this weekend? Well, it's this weekend, but the episode comes out for everybody next week. I mean, it's the same schedule. Like, it comes out for first members next week, tomorrow, but everybody else gets it a week later, and it kind of just follows the same schedule as my live streams. So yeah, so the live stream discussion will be on Wednesday at this time, 5 p.m. Eastern, and so I just wanted to let you guys all know that now, because some people didn't know what I was going to be doing. Also, we didn't do the live stream yesterday because Sephiroth got revealed, like his presentation for Smash Brothers was this time yesterday, so I ended up streaming that over on Twitch, and I believe he's out now. So yeah, and so I that's why we're doing the discussion today, if anyone was curious. But yeah, so yeah, Wednesday is gonna be the discussion, and then obviously the holidays are gonna roll in, and then next week is, you know, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and then the following week is New Year's, and at that point, we're going to be on our mid-season hiatus. How about that? Sephiroth is really cool. They did that character so much justice, I think. RWBY live streams are never on Thursdays? That's not true. I think my first 2 or 3 were. The last couple haven't been. Alright. Chris Mahana Kwanzadon. But yeah, so that's the schedule plan. And then hopefully y'all have a... I'm also going to be doing some other stuff during the hiatus. Like, obviously, I'm going to be solely focusing on Red versus Blue. I think I'm going to stream, like, 3 times a week at that point. You know what I mean? Genshin Impact, Kingdom Hearts. Let's see, Genshin Impact, Kingdom Hearts, Spider-Man Miles Morales. Those are the 3 games I want to primarily focus on during the holidays. Also, opening my PS5, that'd be great. I'll probably do a stream of that on Twitch. So, make sure you're following me if you're not, twitch.tv/murderofbirds. I'd appreciate it. Alright, let me just double check and see how everything's going before we start. Okay. Let's see. Arnold, are you gonna have enough time? Wait, enough time for what? Where do you watch the episode again? Roosterteeth.com is where the episodes come out. They come out every Saturday for first members, and then a week later for non-first members on the website. Episode 7 comes out tomorrow for first members. Episode 6 becomes available for non-first members tomorrow. To get your stuff together for Wednesday? Yeah, I'll have enough time. I'll definitely have enough time. Still playing Genshin Impact on Twitch? Yeah, the last stream I did was on, I think, either Monday or Tuesday I did a stream. Yeah, I started Act 1 of the Liyue storyline, and I also hit AR-45 recently. So, yeah, a lot of stuff. I'm actually going to be artifact farming relatively soon, too. Let's see. I'm so happy I didn't miss this one for once. Oh, Yang Xiaolong. Yeah, welcome. I'm glad all of you guys are here. We have 500 viewers in here right now, so I appreciate all of you guys tuning in. We have a lot to talk about, a lot to get into. Let's see, where are we starting? Yep, so we got the wash. Yep, so this right here, all this. Oh, man. Yo, the whale's a bit smaller than I thought. I just think it, like, the scale of it has always been, like, big, like, up close, but compared to the kingdom itself, I feel like I also thought the whale was able to just eat Atlas, but it, like, it's way smaller compared to, like, the floating kingdom. Slow chat? Yeah, we're starting in 5 minutes, so slow chat will be enabled in about 5 minutes. Dynamorphic, thank you for the $5 super chat. I still don't know how Cinder met Salem. Oh, 1, I still don't know how Cinder met Salem. 2, do you think Cinder will eventually get fed up and betray Salem? Kind of like pulling a Prince Zuko. I agree with you on the first one. That's kind of like my biggest gripe with this backstory. And 2, we'll talk about that. Because I think that was kind of alluded to in the episode. So, yeah. The dreaded slow chat. Hey, I do that for y'all's sake, all right? I want to be able to read comments and see what y'all are saying. I can't do that with 1,000 people in here unless slow chat's enabled. That's tough, buddy. Yeah. I know a lot of people compare, like, the Zuko thing, right? The fire, the eye... You know, all that stuff. The redemption. Not the redemption, like restoring their honor or whatever. Cinder backstory part 2, Electric Boogaloo. Hey, who knows? We might get a part 2 to that backstory. Honor equals power. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, in Cinder's case, yeah. I kind of want a second part to the back. Yeah, exactly. Like, the backstory we got was good, but it wasn't like, it wasn't the juicy, it wasn't like the juicy backstory that we wanted. You know what I mean? And I feel like, to a degree, like, each character's backstory, for Salem in particular, is a little shrouded in mystery, right? Like, how the fuck did Salem find Watts? You know, Tyrion is understandable, but even Tyrion's backstory was on, like, a big-ass freaking, like, it was on, like, it was, like, posted on, I don't know, it was posted on, like, that message, like, that news board. His backstory hasn't, like, it's just... read his backstory. That's Tyrion's backstory. That's how we can come to expect that Salem found him. But it's like, we don't know in depth about Cinder. We don't know in depth about Watts. We don't know in depth about Hazel. I think Hazel is a little bit, I think we can imply or infer how that, you know, how that ended up happening. You know, because, like, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. You know, he hates Ozpin, so, you know, that's an easy dub right there for Salem. That's an easy recruit for her. Cinder's backstory is like a pizza without toppings. Oh, that's interesting. So what is it, just a plain cheese pizza? I loved the Cinder backstory. I mean, you're free to like it. It's not, you know, it's not to say it's, like, bad across the board for everybody. There are aspects of it that I enjoyed. It's just, I don't know. I'll talk about it. It's going to be the first thing I say when the discussion starts. Like, that'll be, like, my full statement on the backstory as a whole. Like, what I feel like it was lacking. I honestly don't think it would have satisfied, like, I don't think this backstory was going to be the silver bullet that was going to be, like, the one thing that people were waiting for. Like take me, for example, right? I've been complaining about Cinder for volumes now, and I didn't go into this discussion, I didn't go into this episode thinking to myself, this is the backstory that's going to make me love Cinder. Like, it wasn't gonna redeem her in my eyes as a character, like, as, like, an entertainment factor for this show. At the end of the day, all it did was really gave me a sense of understanding for her character, and that, to a degree, like, I was watching the episode and I actually kind of felt bad for her a couple of times. I was like, damn, like, this is fucked up, you know? So, like, it resonated some emotions with me based on, like, her origins and how she was raised and where she came from and how she was brought up and how people treated her and all that stuff. But it didn't just, like, it didn't all of a sudden, like, redeem the volumes where there was nothing there for her for me. So yeah. Anyways, thank you guys all so much for joining me for the RWBY Volume 8 Chapter 6 live stream discussion. We are officially starting at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the dot. So, as per usual, say goodbye to the last bits of freedom you guys have in the chat. Because, the good old slow mode's getting activated. You guys know the drill. One comment every 45 seconds. Use your comments wisely. Okay. All right. I don't want to hear it. Chat's crying. No. Hey, it'll be fine. You'll survive, all right? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Isn't that how it goes? Why would you do this to us? I can't believe you've done this. All right. Anyone else wondering if Atlas just had shock? Oh, wait, hold on. Give me a second. Let me pull this up over here because I hate, like, looking over to read stuff. Anyone else wondering if Atlas just had shock collar disguised as fancy jewelry across the board? Is it just a thing we need to watch out for? Here's what I'll say. Okay? There might be some freaks in Atlas. Let's move on. All right. Let's move on. All right. That shot caller might actually be a thing for a reason. All right. Anyways, I never thought I would say this, but poor Cinder. Honestly, I felt the same way. You guys will see the reaction tomorrow. I was actually getting pissed off. Like, those sisters were so petty. That mother, like, that madam, I saw it coming from a mile away. I'm like, yo, Cinder is gonna bury you guys. Like, you keep treating her like this, you're asking for it. Anyways, thank you guys all so much for tuning in. So the first thing I'm gonna say about this episode, overall, I wish the backstory was the whole episode. I understand that they had to give us the backstory and forward the plot a bit because they have one episode left for the mid-season finale. But I honestly think if they had just given us that last, like 5, 6, 7 minutes of additional backstory to see, okay, what happened to Cinder after she killed Rhodes, what led to Salem finding her, what led her to go on this maiden crusade, and then we can fill in the pieces of, okay, then Amber, you know, the fight with Amber then happened, and then the first episode happened, and so on and so forth. I really think that the whole episode being a backstory would have mattered, because the biggest thing that I was dissatisfied with wasn't the fact that, okay, we got the backstory. She's an orphan. She comes from a really shitty place. I think she was originally from Mistral, and then this rich madam went to a different country, basically bought a child that she wanted to become like an indentured servant, and brought her back to her kingdom, and then just treated her like an animal. I get that backstory, I get all that, but I think what 90% of like the audience wanted was like the backstory that matters in the present for Cinder is yeah, how did you get roped into Salem's, you know, plans? Like, how did that interaction go? Did you seek her out? Did she seek you out? You know what I mean? Like, how was the maiden idea, like, dropped onto you? Like, I think it's understandable at the very least why Cinder would join, but I think that point of the origin, that point of the backstory is what a lot of us wanted. At least, especially me. And I wanted both. I wanted the OG origin story, but also the relevant backstory for what's going on right now. Now, I'm not going to just sit here and be like, oh, well, fucked up backstory. I don't know if they've ever done, like, a double backstory. Like, hey, here's the part 1 of Cinder's backstory when she was a child. Now, here's the part 2 backstory of how she gets roped in with Salem. Yeah, I just wish it was the whole episode. I really wish it was the whole episode, and that because like the last couple minutes of the episode is just the Grimm just take down the Atlas's shields, and then, you know, it's a setup for tomorrow's episode. At least we finally got something on Cinder's past. Yeah, exactly. Like here's the thing. Like, anybody can still criticize the idea of, like, we got a backstory, but there's still so many unanswered questions that could have been tied into the backstory that we just didn't get. You know what I mean? Can't stay for long. I'm finally able to have a distance dinner tonight with my parents, but oh my god, I loved this episode. Hey, Hydro, thank you so much for the super chat. I'm glad to hear you enjoyed it. We're about to get into the nitty-gritty of it right now, but thank you so much for the support, bud. All right. So with all that said, let us begin. So I think Cinder was low-key telling the truth back in Volume 3 when she was like, as someone who hails from Mistral, I can tell you that the situation there is equally undesirable, while not completely truthful in the fact that, like, yeah, you haven't been to Mistral in ages. It's still kind of cool that this seems like Mistral terrain, you know what I mean? Like the tree and just the green, and I don't know. It just seems very rural. I don't think I would ever see something like this in Atlas or, you know, or Vale. So I think it also kind of fits the idea that this rich lady doesn't want to put her kids through trouble, doesn't want her kids to lift a finger. So she's going to go and basically buy a child from an equivalent, I guess, I don't know, third world country or whatever, you know, from a poor situation, buys an orphan and says to themselves, yeah, I'm gonna make you my slave. I'm gonna make you my indentured servant. And yeah, so we essentially have where she came from. She has no family. Like we know nothing. And she's kind of in the same situation as someone like Nora or Emerald even, who also were introduced to us as like street rats or orphans or homeless people. And so it was rough for her, you know, even where she was living here, she was treated like a slave. It's like, damn, I actually got taken out of one terrible circumstance to be put in an even worse circumstance living with the madam. And then that is like multiplied over when you consider the fact that she's been living this vicious cycle of the same abuse, the same mistreatment, the same, it just escalates and gets worse and worse. It's like, okay, you're treated like shit here on the barn, you get treated even worse when you go to Atlas, and now you're treated to the nth degree with Salem. And it's just a constant cycle, I think, for Cinder. Like, this is like the life she's always known. You know, the people might be different, but the emotions are still there. The memories are still there. The treatment is still there. And, you know, it's what's lived with her constantly. So yeah, at the very least, it's great to just find out her origins, like where she came from, like truthfully. So from there, we have her new, it's kind of crazy when you think of how many people like really found their I don't know, you could kind of see a lot, like Weiss is from Atlas, Ilya was kind of raised in Atlas, you know, she went to school there, and now Cinder truly had a bit of an upbringing in Atlas as well. And granted, she lived all her life, I assume, on the farm as an orphan, but then at the age of 10, she gets roped into this, you know, into this adoption situation and finds herself in Atlas. And that was a big surprise for me. I did not think, I was like, so, because in my head now, I'm thinking to myself, this is why they waited to give us the backstory, because she's in Atlas, and a part of her backstory takes place in Atlas. That's why I thought that, I was like, oh, maybe that's why they decided to do it now, because, you know, it's more tethered, it's tied to where she was from originally. Even though Atlas itself didn't trigger this backstory, it just kind of seems like, I don't know, maybe that's why they decided to do it, because we're also in Atlas, and this is where her backstory takes place. Look how fancy all the people and cars are. Yeah, I mean, that's Atlas for you. You know, it's very clear that's where she is. The place where she ends up working and living, the madam's location, it's called the Glass Unicorn, which, you know, the big symbolism of glass being a representation of the Cinderella, Cinder's Cinderella inspirations, right? The glass slipper and all of that stuff. And, you know, Cinder ends up using glass as her weapon. You know, she has the glass shoes. That's how she crafts her weapons and stuff like that. So a lot of glass references. Is the madam her actual name? I think is that what they call? I think that's her, the credit for her name in the, or the title that the episode gave her in the credits. I'm pretty sure it's called Madam. If anyone can double check that for me, I'm like 95% sure. Madame. Yeah, Madam is what, yeah, she's called in the credits. Okay. And then the stepsisters are just called stepsisters. Do you think Cinder was orphaned by tragedy or abandonment? I mean, that's based on like speculation, I think. I don't know, like, how did that work out for Cinderella? Like, Cinderella was she always just born into, like, her stepsisters and her stepmother? I don't really know much about, like, the Cinderella storyline. Like, I know, like, the Disney version of it. But, I don't know. It could be either or. I just don't think it really reflects much on her as of now, because it's, you know what I mean? Like, she's 10 years old. Cinderella had okay, Cinderella's parents died. Okay. I guess we can chalk it up to Cinder's parents died as well. You know, maybe they were huntsmen and huntresses, who knows? But you can't really say for sure. I could chalk up abandonment too. But you never really know. Cinderella's parents were killed in an accident. Okay. My girlfriend's gonna be very upset with me because she, like, loves Disney, and I'm just like... It's like, I hope she doesn't hear me. I know she's not here, but, like, that's just how I feel. I'm just like, oh, man, I'm not... Like, I need to, like, know my Disney shit, or immediate disappointment. It gives me abandonment vibes. Yeah, I mean, I guess it really just vibes from person to person. It just depends on what... I guess people just are going to have to headcanon that at this point. But yeah, so we have the glass unicorn, which is the setting for the entire backstory at this point, where we eventually find out that Cinder was taken in by this lady to basically become a servant, like an indentured servant for life, who has been treated like the worst of the worst, absolute scum. She's almost like a slave. Like... I don't see it any differently. She's treated terribly. She's left to eat food off of the floor and clean up after people, and she's just treated with no dignity, no respect. She's treated subhuman at this point, and yeah, I feel like she's treated even worse than a faunus, you know? And it's not like this place has a high opinion of faunus either, because on the desk it says we don't serve faunus. So I honestly feel like if it was up to her, she would probably just hire faunus to just run the place. But she ends up just hiring, like, a kid from another kingdom, you know, just so she has, like, no emotional attachment or anything like that, because she's not going to do it with her kids. And, yeah, it's like, all right, get to work, and don't talk back. And, like, the worst part of it, too, is just, like, she had, like, a tag on her that she just, like, it's literally like a shock collar for, like, an animal or something. Or like a dog whistle. You know, that's like some animal shit. Lorenzo Teague. Hey, Murder. First time in here seeing you live. Cinder's backstory was what was like looking into how to make a nightmare. Interesting. I don't get that reference necessarily, but thank you very much for the comment. And welcome to the stream live. I'm glad to have you here. No wit, no tenacity. A servant listens. A man chooses, a slave obeys. Yeah. Don't think, obey. God, there's so many parallels to the past. It's insane, dude. It's actually crazy how the line, like how some people, and I think I mentioned this last week. You know how like some people, you know, it's hard to break from like a cycle, right? A lot of people, if they're raised in a certain household, they say to themselves, you know, I'm not going to be like my parents. And I honestly think you have to make a conscious effort to not do things that were placed upon you when you were younger to your kids and so on and so forth. Like, it takes actual effort. It's not just about like saying it, you know, it matters to that degree. And it's kind of baffling how the same things that were done to Cinder and the same things that are being reinforced to Cinder by Salem is the same way that she treats someone like Emerald, who had it just as bad, I think, as her. Like, both no family, both basically like one in an orphanage, one living on the streets, and Cinder treats Emerald the exact same way that she was treated. And I think for Cinder's case, it's like Cinder doesn't know love. She doesn't know compassion. She doesn't know kindness, because she found none of that where she originally lived. She found none of that here. She finds none of that with Salem. So she doesn't really have a barometer. She has no way of measuring, well, how do I treat this person? The only way I know how to treat them is how I was treated. You know what I mean? Yeah. She's basically treating people the way she was, and it's, I don't know if that, you know, and then that's when you get into like the psychology of her character, and like, can you really blame her, or she should know better at this point? It really all comes down to like upbringings. I really think a lot of it. And then you can have the argument of like nature versus nurture. It's like, is she a product of her environment? Is she a product of her upbringing? You know, she knew kindness, but yeah, I understand that. That was like, I feel like that was also fleeting, because every time Rhodes left, I felt like there was a chance I didn't think she was going to kill him. I thought he was just going to die on the job, because that's a huntsman's life. You know, like I was never expecting, it was always a gamble when he left. I never thought he would come back, but he always did. It, you know, it just so happened to be that. But yeah, also, I just want to give a quick shout out to this place because, again, it's called the Glass Unicorn, and obviously Cinder, Cinderella, Glass Slipper, all those references, and you can actually see throughout this area, you know, throughout the episode, there's a bunch of different glass sculptures of Grimm. So on the table on the left, you see a glass saber. On the right, you see a glass griffin. On the left, you see a glass Beowulf. I'm sorry, a glass Ursa statue. On the right, you see a glass Beowulf. And then at the very top of, like, on, like, the, like, where people's mail is, like, the postage and stuff like that, you see, like, the glass Sea Phaelong, which are the Grimm from Volume 4 that Sun and Blake fought. But yeah, and then on the tables, too, there's, like, glass flowers, and glass flower vases. So I just wanted to showcase it here because there's a bunch of different points of it throughout the episode, and I didn't feel like gathering every single different one. So I was actually happy that they featured that in the concept art. Let's see. Maybe that's why glasses are primary. Yeah, I mean, we've speculated long before this that the reason she uses glasses because it's a reference. It's, you know, it's a reference to her Cinderella inspiration, and so now, like, it kind of even goes further back into, like, hey, she was around a lot of this stuff, and it's all tied in together, you know, the evil stepmom, the evil stepsisters, all that stuff. So yeah, this is, and it sucks too, right? Because this is, like, Cinder's in a completely different place, and you would think in her head, like, holy shit, I'm no longer living in a barn with, like, some barnyard animals and these roughhouse boys. I'm actually in, like, a very sophisticated place, a new environment. You would have had to think in her head that this is a way better alternative, a way better turnout for her than where she was before. And it sucks that it's actually worse. I honestly think she would have been way better off just staying at the orphanage. But clearly they're getting, you know, they get paid to get rid of her, I assume. And, yeah, her situation's just, like, so much worse. And then, like, yeah, this is basically a hotel. I think most of these people, like, live here, because sometimes, you know, the Rhodes was a huntsman that was constantly on the go. He would always leave, but he would always come back. He was always the life of the party. He seemed very well known. A lot of people were always cheering for him when he came back and stuff. Yeah, and then obviously some people are just, you know, having a good time, getting drunk, chugging and stuff like that. Lay off the beer lady. God, she won't stop, dude. She just keeps taking swig after swig, dude. But yeah. Glass unicorn also symbolizes fragile hope, which shatters. Cinder had hope for a better life after adoption, but it turned out to be false. This is a recurring theme for Cinder. Yeah, I guess I mean, that's interesting symbolism then, because I never made, I was actually like, are we going to get a glass Grimm, right? Because it's called this is glass sculptures of all these other Grimm, and then the place is called the Glass Unicorn. So it'd be kind of cool if we got like a unicorn Grimm. But yeah, I never looked into the name of the place necessarily. I just wrote it off as like, oh, this is an inspiration. But I think it just makes sense that someone taken out of orphanage, brought to a situation like this, you would think they would have, like, in their head, like, oh my god, this is like the best thing that's ever happened. This is the best thing that could have ever happened to me. Nope. Actually worse. Hey, what's up, Eddie? Welcome to the stream, dude. Thanks for joining. We are getting into the backstory. That'd be really cool to have a glass unicorn. Yeah, I'm surprised with the place called Glass Unicorn, there was no glass unicorn sculpture. At least I don't think there was. It's just the name of the place. Let's see. Okay. So really quick, I gotta do this, all right? Believe it or not, but there was actually some product placement, some well-crafted and well-planned out, I guess, retroactive product placement, because this, I assume this was put in the show before it was made. But for those who don't know, in this room over here, with the stepsisters on the side here, you can actually see some coffee beans. Like, you can see like these packages for Mistral Mountain Roastery coffee. And if you didn't know, over the summer at RTX, it was revealed that Rooster Teeth partnered with a, I guess a coffee brewing company, King's Coast Coffee Company, to bring you the real-world variation of the exact same coffee that was showcased in the episode, both in beans and in ground form. And so I, you know, being the RWBY shill that I am, of course, I bought a couple of these, and it actually tastes really good. So I was like, oh shoot, that's the coffee, because they said it was going to be in the volume. I completely had forgotten about it until I saw it in the episode. So right here it says, so on the back here, it's Mistress Blend. Let's see. Mistress Blend whole beans, and it's herbal tea, lemongrass, and toffee flavored, I assume. And it's it says here Peru, and then on the back here it says Mistral Mountain Roastery Huntress Blend, and then the actual company is King's Coast Coffee Company. I believe it's an all-women's run company as well, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, and so like Huntress Blend, it kind of makes sense, you know, huntresses, you know. But yeah, that was a really cool retroactive product placement, because that was put in the show before this was, like, this was released first, but they said that it was going to be in the show. So for those who don't know, you can get your own RWBY coffee beans or you know, the grounds on their website. That's where I got it from in September. Yeah, September 24th is when I bought this. But yeah, so, and it was roasted on Long Island, New York. So shout out to any Long Islanders. We appreciate you and your business. But yeah, so if you didn't know, now you know. Oh yeah, and then like that, God, that gets into like the whole RWBY Chibi thing with Nora and the coffee, and you know, Nora can't have caffeine, and yeah, that was a trippy episode. But yeah, so if you guys didn't know, that was a little cool product placement moment. And a lot of people probably didn't know, because it wasn't like, hey, buy our product. It was just kind of there, and it fits for the episode, I think, you know? So yeah, that was pretty neat. I noticed that too. I was like, oh my God, I have that coffee. It's in the back over there. So yeah, that was pretty good. What's not really good is having a pair of evil, for lack of a better term, evil stepsisters, all right? They were so annoying, man. I was so annoyed by this entire family. Like, every turn, like, it was the worst, man. I felt so bad for Cinder. I was like, God, if I lived in... I would have killed them, too. If I lived in this fantasy world, I'm like, fuck this shit. I ain't being treated like no animal. Like, I'm either getting out of there... I wouldn't have killed them. I would have just, like, roughed them up a bit. I'm like, all right. Enough is enough. I'm getting out of here. Also, the sisters voiced by Aimee. So for those who don't know, I believe she does like covers on YouTube. Granted, you know, it was just a couple of lines, but I believe she voiced for both of the characters, which is pretty cool. Yeah, not to take away from like Amelie's performance or anything. It's just like they're supposed to be annoying characters. I'm trying to keep it respectful here, you know? But yeah, she does covers on YouTube, and she's very well known in the community, and so that was really, really cool that they collaborated with her as well. Yeah, the typical mean girls, yeah. Laughing when nothing's funny. You know, just laughing at someone they know is less fortunate. The Malachite twins. Yeah, at least the Malachite twins could fight, though. Nah, don't call them Malachite twins, too. That's actually an insult to the Malachite twins. They're just stepsisters. That's all they are. Nothing more, nothing less. But yeah, she was like, all right, you're basically a slave. Eat this bread I'm going to throw on the floor and get your ass to work. Hop to chop chop. And I'm just like, damn, like, that's the actual worst. It's Kaylin and Hunter? Oh, boy. Cal did mention that, like, she was actually really happy that there were that there was like a character with curly hair, like really well represented curly hair, and she like compared it to her on Twitter the other day. It's garbage 1 and garbage 2. Oh boy. Yeah, I mean, Cinder doesn't... I can't imagine the last time Cinder had, like, a decent meal. Meanwhile, these girls are eating, like, strawberry shortcake, and she's eating, like, the leftovers of the other guy's food that he didn't finish. It's just such a bad, terrible situation. Yeah, Anastasia and Drizilla, the evil stepsisters, it's, you know, the typical storyline. One thing that I wanted to put here, which is very interesting, if you notice, is that there is a cleaning checklist, and I assume it's a checklist from day to day, top to bottom, or left to right. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 8. I don't know how their days work. Either they have 8 days in a week, or they have 6 days. But the thing is, Nora mentioned Thursday, you know, in Volume 5. She was like, you know, crazy Thursday. So do they not have a Sunday, right? Like, they don't have a Sabbath? You know, granted, there are gods among their world, but, like, I don't think they have, like, the religious implications of what Sunday means, which is, like, you don't work on Sunday. So maybe they just have Monday through Saturday. There's no Tuesday? No Ruby Tuesday in Remnant? The god of darkness destroyed Sunday? Technically, it's like they have Sunday off, so much so that the day just doesn't exist. But yeah, like, whoever wrote that chicken scratch, I'm so pissed off. You could have made that legible. How are you going to tell me that you're going to make cleaning chart legible, and then the actual days of the week, you just like, fuck it. We'll never confirm the days, like, how many days in a month, how many days in a week. Yeah, that was, like, a little frustrating. I was like, really? I was actually pissed. I was like, come on, you son of a bitch. You could have done it. But yeah, that was a little unfortunate to have to go through. I'm like, oh, man, really? Even, like, just minor shit like that. I just want to know, like, what their day cycle is like, you know, because then that'll give us a better understanding of, like, how a week from a month to a year goes by, and... You know, people are still, like, debating to this day, like, how does the school system work? Is it like our school system? And, you know, we're all just trying to grasp this timeline, all right? I just want you to know that, Eddie, if you're still here. Like, this hurts us so much in our soul. But anyways. Yeah, I mean, this is just typical. I think Rooster Teeth does a really good job of making characters that you're just... inherently just supposed to dislike, because I did not like any one of these people. There's one scene where Cinder is literally cleaning the glass saber on the desk, and she looks up at the madam and she's like, hey, I'm doing my job, and the madam just shocks her for no fucking reason. That got I was like, I'm so pissed off. I was so mad at that moment. I'm like, all right, you're just trying to be a bitch. Like, you actually just want to be hated. With no redeeming qualities whatsoever. It's bad enough you basically bought a slave. But, yeah, like, the entire episode was just awful. In that regard. Yeah. I was fuming. Hey, Arnold, did you notice the Do Your Chores sounds insanely close to Sacrifice? Do you think it's confirming that Sacrifice is a Cinder song? I didn't notice that. People say it's Cinder song, people say it's Salem song, people say it's Raven song. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine right now. It's so many, like, that song has so many, I don't know, so many people have so many different ideas for where that song stems from. That it's kind of up in the air right now. I guess it's whatever you believe it to be, until we get something more concrete. But yeah, I obviously made that AMV with Salem and Sacrifice for my own reasons, because I saw a lot of parallels in that song from the Lost Fable episode in Volume 6. And I think I inadvertently got a lot of people on the "this song is about Salem" wagon because of that, because it was such a well tied in AMV video that went really well with the lyrics and like, you know, the episode itself. But yeah, I really like Sacrifice a lot because of that AMV, honestly. But no, I didn't notice that. I mean, it was crazy that we got like a song dedicated to Cinder's backstory. Like, this is basically a song of oppression. It's like, you don't think, you don't talk, you just do what you're told, you shut up, and that's it. You know what I mean? It's literally like a song of the oppressed. And yeah, I don't know. Like, and then this scene in on top of that, like where she like kneels over and starts eating the bread, it's just very sad, because it's like, you know, it's like, wow, this is really what Cinder had to go through. And again, that's where my like that's where I get like, I'm actually glad that I at least understand. I can understand where that need for power and that need to be on top comes from, right? I want to be strong. I want to be powerful. I want to be feared. I want to be respected, all that other stuff. It's because, like, you never had that shit, so you're going to get it one way or another. And, again, like I said before, this actually... hold on. I don't have the other picture. Oh, man. I had the picture of Nora, but I think I lost it. Hold on. Let me see if I can try to get it back real quick. Give me a second. So basically, the scene where she's eating the bread off of the floor, that just reminds me of like Nora, where Nora was also doing the same thing. She was you know, she was eating bread out of the trash, and I'm just like, you know what I mean? Like, she was in the same exact boat, but it's like all three of these characters were brought up in really shitty circumstances, really shitty life situations, but they all turned out completely different. You know, Nora had Ren. Emerald basically, you know, she attaches herself to Cinder because Cinder was like her Ren, you know what I mean? The same way that you know, Ren helped out Nora. All right, let me see. Okay, there we go. I got it back. God, that was so annoying. So yeah, you know, Nora came from the streets. She was an orphan when we discovered her. We don't know anything about her backstory. Yo, Nora backstory when, Ruby. I'm really waiting for that one next. You know, she just got fucked up in a fight. Really great time for her to have a backstory and come to the same way that Cinder did this episode. That'd be great, just to find out, God, if she's from Atlas too. Jesus Christ. Like, all the terrible fucked up kids, like, just went to Atlas or grew up in Atlas or had a bad experience in Atlas. Like, it's Ilya had that, Cinder had that, Weiss had that, you know, Winter. God, man, nothing good comes out of this kingdom, I swear to God. And it's like the lowest of the low. And I wonder if that's, you know, like the whole thing too, like the no faunus thing. It's like, wow, not only that, but you're raised by someone who's actively racist. You know, like you weren't coming out of that unscathed at all. Now, let's see. Everyone is from Atlas. I'd rather live in Vale. Vale's incredibly vanilla. But at least for Vale, like Vale kind of had their shit together. I'll be honest. Like, looking back on it now, right? Mistral, kind of shady. You know, they got the black market, and, you know, they had like some really bad like slum areas. So I think like economically, like they weren't doing the best either. Vale seemed pretty legit. Even Patch was like its own little like mini getaway. But yeah, like Mistral had its really bad moments, its really bad places, like the slums and stuff like that, especially where like where Cinder was hanging out with you know, with Little Miss Malachite and all that. Atlas is just like, either you live in Atlas or you live down in the dumps, you know, or you live in the crater or mantle, which it's like it's a crapshoot either way you pull it. And Vacuo is, well, Vacuo. Like Vacuo's just shit. Yeah, I think I'd live, like, Vale is like the closest thing to a normal life, I think, right? You know, they got cars, they got like regular, you know, they have a like just like general buildings, and like they just have their shit together, I think. And I don't know, man. The rest of the world is kind of shit, not gonna lie. Vacuo looked good in Chapter 6, though, not gonna lie. That was just like a desert that you were looking at. Like, there was nothing good about that. They were literally in the middle of, like, the desert. I don't know. Anyways, let's move on. Oh, boy. The Song of the Oppressed. God. It's like, gamers rise up. We've been oppressed for too long. That's all. Cinder just needs to be a gamer. That's all. And then she's gonna find it in her soul to just fight back. But yeah, the song was really interesting. That's the second song that we've gotten. Technically the third, not including the intro. But we obviously got the first song in the canyon area with you know, Yang's group. I think the song is called The Sky is Falling, and then I don't know what this one is, but obviously this is the second song, and it's very tied to Cinder's origins, so that's really cool. I'm actually looking forward to hearing this song, the second half at least, because the first half was just like, you suck, you're awful, don't think, don't talk, do your chores, no one loves you, you're the absolute worst, you're the bottom of the barrel. Like, it's actually like some subhuman shit. And, yeah, I like her pigtails. I like how they're just like, you know what I mean? It's just like she's trying her best. Like, no one's ever done her hair before or whatever. And they're just uneven. I don't know. It's like, she's doing her best. What can you expect? She's just a little kid. She's just 10 years old, God damn it. Yeah, so it's, clean the linen, sweep the floors, shut your mouth, and do your chores. And then, obviously, it's basically just telling her every single thing to do on the chore list, while these two just screw around and just have, like, a perfect life because, you know, the mother doesn't discipline. Like, they're just as bad, you know? They make her life just as miserable, just as worse. And the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, as they say. It's all about upbringing. It's all about how you're raised. Like, a huge point, I think a big part of how someone turns out as a kid, as a teen, as a young adult, as a full adult, no matter what, always comes down with how you're raised. And there's always some remnant of that, no matter what. And so, and I think that's a big thing too. If you have nobody, you have no guidance, and you know what I mean? Like, things like this happen because, oh man, we'll talk about Rhodes, because he kind of disappointed me too, not gonna lie. But yeah. I mean, evil isn't born, it's taught, but at the same time, like, she wasn't necessarily, like, a lot of this was, like, what's the word I'm looking for? It was unchecked, and a lot of it came down to, underestimating. Like, Rhodes significantly, I think Rhodes severely underestimated Cinder's situation, what she was going through, how she was feeling about everything, and it just, like, led to a very unfortunate circumstance by the end of it. Let's see. Cinder just gets to... Yeah, so you actually see her, too. She's actually... It's not even scraps that she's getting, dude. She's actually eating the food of the guy she just brought his food. Like, the guy on the top right there. Like, the guy at the very top up here, like, slams the door on her. Like, whatever he didn't eat, she ended up eating the rest of it. So, like, that's, like, some survivalist type shit. Like, that's like, I don't know when I'm gonna get my next meal, and I can't be ashamed of doing this because I'm trying to survive. Because, you know, she's treated like an animal. She doesn't get fed properly. And, like, it's awful, you know? I completely felt for Cinder this entire time. Like, the entire backstory, I'm just like, that's actually terrible that anyone should go through something like that. Now, how that manifests into her decision-making and where she is now, that's a completely different story. But as a 10-year-old kid, I don't think any, like, it's just terrible. It's just a terrible time. And, you know what I mean? Like, I talked about it earlier, too. Like, you would think her life would be different, but she's still scrubbing away. She's still scrubbing the same floors, treated the same way. It's just a different coat of paint. It's like, I'm still treated as subhuman just in a fancier building, you know? But there's abuse tacked on, and there's, like, demeaning tacked on, and all of this other terrible shit, you know? And then it's compounded on even more because this turns into this, and then this turns into this, and it's the same no matter what. You know what I mean? It's just a vicious cycle that Cinder's been going through her whole life of being controlled and commanded by someone, by a higher power. And it's like, if you can't beat them, join them. But in Cinder's eyes, you know, the thing that she said to the madam, I think, is going to transcend even now, where she says, you're right, because, like, without you, I am nothing, but because of you, I am everything. And that is going to get a lot worse, because now you have someone like Salem that she's like, without you, Salem, I'm nothing. But once I get all 4 of these maiden powers, because of you, Salem, I'm everything. And it's just going to go to her head again. But I think she's going to fuck with the wrong person. You know, it's easy to kill a woman and her kids, you know, especially when you have, like, a semblance, especially when you've been training and you have the instinct and the drive to kill these people who've been making your life a living hell. It's a very different story to go up against someone like Salem and think you have a chance of winning. And it's just, yeah, it's just, it's a cycle of abuse that she's going through, and it's, that's a bad line out of context, to be honest. It almost justified her abuse. I think in her, so the way that I break down that quote is like, without you, I'm nothing. Like, if the madam didn't come around, Cinder would still be 10 years old, 12 years old, 14 years old, however long until she was old enough to, like, go out on her own and do whatever. She would still be at that farm being treated like dirt, have no ambitions, no goals, no aspirations, whatever. She was taken in by this evil woman, like, and her evil sisters, treated terribly. But because of that, she was able to eventually unlock her semblance. She was able to be in the perfect situation to find someone that could help her fight and give her a sense of purpose and a means of defending herself. And that in turn was all because the madam decided to adopt her. The madam had nothing to do with all of those external factors that came in and helped Cinder's case. But there's levels to that shit. You know what I mean? It's like, madam, if it wasn't for you, none of this would be possible. So thanks to you, I can do anything now. And that includes killing you. And so when you look at it that way, I think it's going to be the same case with Salem. Like, Salem's giving her the opportunity to be even more, you know, to be even stronger, to, you know, to be the person that maybe she feels like she always wanted to be or feel like she needs to be now. It's pretty much no pain, no gain. Yeah, in a matter of speaking, yeah. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Yeah, it's, you know, it's a survival of the fittest kind of thing. She is literally surviving here. You know, it's not getting by. It's not making ends meet. It's like, no, like, she's doing what it takes to survive. She's going through the abuse. She's going through the constant, you know, hard labor, or like slave labor at that. No friends, no family, no one to talk to. You know, it's just keep your head down, work hard, aim towards this goal. And I think they just pushed her buttons a little too soon. You know, push came to shove, if you will. And then, obviously, Rhodes comes into the picture here, and that's what I really like is that it's so cool to think that Cinder wanted to be a huntress. You know, I thought that was such a cool thing. It's like, what the... In my head, I was thinking, like, as the episode was going on, I was like, well, what happened? Like, Cinder as a huntress would have been kind of cool. It's like, but... you know, things changed, and it, you know what I mean? Like, it became very, very clear what ends up happening as the episode goes on. In psychology, trauma can actually make someone more stronger and for the better. I don't think I don't think anyone should have to go through trauma to be like, because there's examples of people who are better off without trauma. You know what I mean? Trauma is like it's a tricky thing, you know? It's like it's unpredictable. And so I don't think that, you know, and I've heard that a lot where people are just like, oh, I went through this fucked up thing as a kid and I turned out fine. It's like, maybe on the surface you're fine, but like, I don't know. I don't believe that. I don't co-sign with that idea at all. Because, you know, everyone's different. You can't just give out, you know, you can't just have a blanket situation and be like, well, it worked out for me, it should work out for you because it worked out for me. But yeah, it's just Cinder handled it very, very differently. Does anyone else here? I think this is where, I think this is her unlocking her semblance. Also, kind of looks like, can someone explain to me, okay? I need someone to vividly explain this to me, all right? I'm gonna be, you know, I'm playing it up a little bit here, okay? When have we ever seen mud in Atlas? Where the fuck did these girls come from? Is that mud? Or is that, like... Is that you know what? Because it's like, where did... Like, Atlas is spotless. I don't think I've seen a speck of dust in this kingdom since we got here. Maybe Mantle, but I'm just like... I don't know if that's mud. They got it from the crate. Yeah, yeah, like these kids wouldn't last 5 minutes in the crate. Are you kidding me? No, there's no way that this there's no way. There is no way that this hotel is in Mistral. There's no way. It's in Atlas. It has to be. Aesthetically, it's Atlas. They had hover cars. They had freaking racism. I mean, not to say racism is exclusively an Atlas, but it's like, you know, it's like it's definitely an Atlas. Chocolate cake. What a waste of delicious chocolate pudding. Oh my god. Oh boy. A garden somewhere? Maybe a garden? I was just like, where the fuck did they get all of that mud on their shoes? And I'm just like, Atlas is like spotless. I've never seen like dirt, let alone mud. Also, this doesn't really fucking matter. It's just like my immersion. You know what I mean? It's just funny to just mention and bring up. Not a speck of dust. Okay. All right. Anyways. It's a RWBY Chibi reference, Arnold. Oh yeah, when RWBY comes into the room and she's like, she's just causing trouble for her. She's like, and then that's when Weiss and RWBY end up fighting. Yeah, she's like, RWBY Rose, I have dealt with your foolishness for too long. She's like, the foolishness is, I don't even remember what RWBY said, but she basically like confused herself. It's like, nothing, let's fight. Yeah, I remember that. Oh my god. RWBY Chibi spoils! RWBY Chibi's a big spoiler, dude. I swear to God. I got spoiled on I got spoiled on Cinder's backstory like 4 years before it happened, dude. They abused the chocolate ice cream. My question is, how did they get up there? I mean, you know, there's probably stairs and stuff. But yeah, I think this is where Cinder unlocked her semblance. You know, her superheating. I couldn't tell you how that like steam and smoke thing happened. Maybe it's just because like oh yeah, never mind. It's like the moisture inside of the within the brush. But yeah, so that was really cool to just see that. What's not very cool, right? What's not very cash money is how Cinder just gets treated like Like an actual, like, I didn't even think anything of the necklace. I don't even think I noticed the necklace until she started getting shocked, and I'm like, what the fuck? That's, man, it's the worst, dude. Like, I saw this shit coming from a mile away. I was like, yeah, Cinder's gonna kill this lady. Cinder's gonna kill all 3 of them. And then when they were snitching on the sword, I'm like, oh no, she just got a sword. Snitches get stitches. Y'all are done. Clock strikes midnight. Y'all are done, dude. But yeah, that's not very cash money. Yeah, it's not. Hey, it is what it is. It's like, not very cash money of you, lady. Yeah, like, Cinder, like, Clementine will remember that, dude. Cinder will remember that. Yeah, it was really, like, this whole episode, I was on Cinder's court. I was in Cinder's side of the court the whole time. I was like, this is fucked up. Like, this is awful. I feel so bad for Cinder. Right? At no point am I saying to myself, this completely justifies what she's been doing. She killed Pyrrha. She got a ton of people killed at the Vital Festival tournament. She stabbed Weiss. You know, she's doing all of this messed up. I'm like, okay, yeah, eventually you made your bed. You gotta lay in it, right? Eventually, those are your decisions that you made. But everything that's going on right here, you're just a 10-year-old kid. It's kind of, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just a bad hand that she was dealt, and you know, she just had to suffer through it. So yeah, I Cinder got a lot of sympathy out of me this episode. And then they bring it back around, dude. Without you, I am nothing. That actually blew my mind, that it had nothing to do with Salem. The fact that we heard her say that from the first episode, without you, I am nothing, and then again in the 4th episode, without you, I am nothing, that goes back so much further. It's like, this is Salem with a new coat. This is the madam, you know, Salem is the madam with a new coat of paint. God damn, she's practically the evil fairy godmother if we're gonna keep the Cinder, if we're gonna keep the Cinderella references going, right? It's like, well, I killed my stepsisters, I killed my evil stepmom, I guess all that's left is my you know, my fairy godmother, and lo and behold, it's Salem at this point. I guess my question is, how much can we expect those who've never known love to care about anyone? Yeah, I mean, yeah, we definitely, we talked about that a little while ago, or a moment earlier, when I was like, she treats Emerald the same way that she was treated. And it's because she was never shown anything else. You know what I mean? Not to get too personal, right? Because I never want to bring up things that I feel aren't necessary or need to be mentioned or addressed, right? But my parents raised me and my siblings the only way they knew how. They raised us the same way that they were raised. Looking back on it now, and I've had conversations with my parents since then, we've all come to the conclusion that things could have gone a lot better. You know what I mean? Like, there were clearly situations and things about how we were raised that shouldn't have happened. Like, should have known better. Should have known situations that they went through. Why would you want to put that on your kid as you get, you know, your kid, and then so on and so forth. And eventually there comes a point where somewhere along the generational line, it breaks, and you change things, or you learn from your parents, you know. So, and then that's how, you know, your parents' upbringings of how you were raised become the blueprint for how you raise your kids, and so on and so forth. But Cinder never had any of that, so it's kind of hard to expect her to treat anybody with those kind of expectations, you know, kindness, love, compassion, you know, friendliness, whatever the case might be, if she's never had that. But yeah, I understand that. I understand that completely. Like, and eventually you get old enough to the point where you understand right from wrong. You know, just because I went through this thing doesn't mean I'm going to treat other people that way, because that was never the right way to go about it in the first place. You know, I feel like this can hit home for a lot of people, for a lot of different reasons. And I just hate bringing up family stuff because it's just like, I don't know. My channel and everything really has to do with like me, and I never want to feel like I'm throwing people under the bus or speaking ill of family and stuff like that. It's just, it is what it is. And, you know, I'm old enough to acknowledge certain things and reflect that, especially with the show, because I watch some of these episodes and see some of the situations, and I'm just like, it just reminds me of stuff too. So yeah, I definitely sympathize a lot with what Cinder went through this episode. I was very much on her side. I saw it coming a mile away. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, yeah, I would have killed them too. They deserved it. I wouldn't go that far. But I definitely think Cinder being pushed to that point. What else? You know, what did you expect was gonna happen? You know, it was either do that or put up with that for another 3-4 years until she could actually leave. Yeah, Sonny. I agree. It's like, it was inevitable. It was, you know, what's the saying? I forget the saying, but it's like, I don't know. They just kept poking the hornet's nest, I guess. But yeah, that absolutely blew my mind away. When she was like, without you, I'm nothing, I'm like, that has nothing to do with Salem. But it's like, history repeats itself. The cycle of abuse repeats itself. It's like, years later, 10 years, 20 years, however long it's been, nothing has changed. She's in the exact same, yeah, poking the bear. Yeah, poking the bear. I think that's what I was thinking of. Brunswick Farmer members. But yeah, it's I don't know, man. I don't think anyone should go through that. And you know, maybe, you know, things could have turned out so much different for for Cinder. You know what I mean? Cuz then she meets Rhodes. And I hate how much of a Chad police officer this guy is. Like, I saw this meme on Twitter where it was like a big fucking book. Like, it was like a book with like 1,000 pages, and the caption of the book is RWBY now, like RWBY Volume 8 as of now. And then there was a tiny book, like a very thin book with maybe like 50 pages, and it was like RWBY if Rhodes had just talked to Cinder or something like that. And I'm like, he was just like, oh, you killed them, Cinder? I gotta take you out. No ifs, no ands, no buts, no talking, no nothing. Let's do it. Let's go for it. And it was just like, how did we get here? You know? Oh, boy. But yeah, so, also, by the way, if you guys didn't know, this is Cinder's room. This is also a concept art, but basically it sucks, but her bed is literally on the floor in the corner on the top left. She had like the 2 pillows and the blanket on the floor. So she sleeps in a storage room. And that's where she currently is now with the like where she like took the sword and stuff like that. Originally I thought this was like her little I don't know, like clubhouse, or her little like getaway place where she just takes things that she wants and hides them away, you know, because she brought the sword here covered up, and then you look around and there's a bunch of other covered up stuff, and then I soon realized, oh no, that's a dresser, that's a table, no, this is just like extra storage. Like, she doesn't even have a room to herself. Like, this is like some Harry Potter shit, like the cupboard under the stairs. What kind of huntsman throws his weapons away? Well, I mean, if you're talking about this scene here, he was doing it to prove that he wasn't a threat. Even though he had his weapons out because she just threw his sword. She just threw his sword at him. But he wants to obviously gain her trust. He's like, hey, I'm not here to hurt you. I'm not here to do anything. Obviously, Cinder's acting up. She's like, ha, you fool. And then she goes to attack him. I'll be honest, didn't notice his semblance right there when he grabbed the sword. I was just like, yeah, that seems normal. Obviously, he would stop her. But, yeah, that's his semblance at work. I don't know. Okay, so did the semblance remind you guys of anything? Like, his semblance in particular? Did this remind you guys of anything? Because there was one particular individual. You guys will see it in the reaction tomorrow. I just want to see how many people shared the same thought process as I did. Colossus, Greed, Tetsu, Hockey, Man of Steel, Kevin from Ben 10. It's not that one, I'm sorry. Okay, so a lot of you guys guessed it. I thought of Greed from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I was like, that's a Greed moment right there. So I noticed it when she actually, like, when their fight happened. I didn't notice it right here. So it's actually really great that they showed it again. Otherwise, I would have missed it completely. It was also very subtly used right there. But, you know, I'm in the moment. I don't notice everything on my first watch, unfortunately. But yeah, I noticed, I was like, holy shit, that's definitely a Greed moment. That was pretty badass, not gonna lie. Going off of his semblance and name, I believe Rhodes is based off of a Colossus of Rhodes. Ooh, that sounds pretty accurate there. I heard his name also means like rose in a different language or something like that. Let's see. I thought it was a mechanical hand, like with Ironwood's metal body. Oh no, like his, like you can actually see the metal leave his hand on the bottom shot right here, actually. Arnold notices a hound, but not a hand in front of his face. Hey, it was a quick frame, all right? And you hear like the clink. Well, how was I supposed to know that was a semblance? I thought maybe he was just wearing a glove or something. I didn't see like the metal retract from his hand either, you know. Also, the only reason why I noticed the Grim, the Hound, was because the shot that he was first shown in, there was no Grim there the first time. But yeah, shout out to any of you guys who noticed that the first time, or noticed it right here. You know, I think I noticed it because it actually showed him activating it. When she struck him, his hand was already like that. But again, right there is where you would have seen the difference. But obviously, this is where, you know, he talks to her and, you know, they basically have their first interaction of like, hey, I've been watching you for a while. I noticed that you're not exactly getting the best treatment around here. And no, he sees it. He sees that it's a shitty situation. And he reinforces and mentions to her, like, because now you have to think, why did she steal his sword? Did she steal his sword to eventually kill his, you know, to kill the stepsisters and the mom? You know what I mean? Because, like, the last big fight that, you know, the last moment that was there was, you know, them muddying the floors and making a situation worse for her. And so, you know, like, he probably saw that too. It's like, oh, damn, like, there's not many reasons why someone would want a sword. Either you think it looks really cool and you just want to have it as a keepsake, or you're trying to hurt somebody. And, you know, he mentions that to her, and we find out that she's 10 years old. I thought she was like 12, 13 at least. Like, that's a big 10-year-old. Let me just say. But, yeah, she's 10 years old. I don't know where this puts the timeline, like, at all, right? Because she has to be 17 to join the Huntsman Academies, like, to join, you know, to become a huntress. That's how old Weiss was and Blake and Yang when Volume 1 started. Ruby was 15, but she skipped 2 years, as we all know. And so, I like, when she said I'm 10, I'm thinking to myself, was Ruby even born yet? Like, how old is Ruby or Yang or Blake or Weiss at this time? Like, that's the first thing that I thought of. maybe to lure him. You also might want a sword to defend yourself. Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of reasons. Like, she was looking at his sword in, like, astonishment, you know, a few scenes beforehand, like when he was showing it off down in the lobby, like right before the sisters muddied the floor. So she was just looking at it like, oh man, that guy's so cool. He's a huntsman. He can do whatever he wants. And so yeah, or maybe she was like, my sisters are pissing me off. I know where I can find a sword. I know where I can hurt them later. And he's obviously like reading into that. He's like, you know, hurting them isn't going to make your life any better. If you do that, all you're going to do is spend your time running away. And she's like, you don't know me. You're not my real dad. You know, you can do whatever you want, go wherever you want. And it's super cool that he like basically put the idea in her head. Like, you can too. You know, if you want to be a huntress, we'll work at it. You have to basically deal with the situation right now. And it's going to suck. You got to wait. You got to go through 7 years of hell before you can get out. And this indirectly gives her that power, right? This goes back to what she mentioned to the madam, like, you know, without you, I'm nothing, but because of you, I'm everything. Because of the madam, she was put in this situation to be able to hone her skills, to become better with her semblance, to you know, to develop a fighting style, to get stronger, and to become more resilient. And I think that was a big miscalculation, you know, for someone who's going through abuse and who's being, you know, tortured and mistreated by others. I don't know. I feel like I don't know, maybe Rhodes thought she could handle it. Maybe, you know, whatever the situation might have been. Yeah. You know, and it's not really his responsibility to be like, hey, I'll take you off this, you know, I'll take you out of the situation. We can travel. You know what I mean? Like, he's basically becoming a mentor for her, you know, and this is like a short-term situation. It's not like, I'm going to look after you. I'll always be there. You know what I mean? I feel like this was very much a mentor situation. Yeah. If Rhodes didn't come and go so often, Cinder could have turned out so different. Yeah, exactly. It's just the fact of, like, maybe he left for too long. You know what I mean? Because, like, we see the training montage. We see them training. And, like, she's still getting tortured. She's still getting shocked. She's still getting mistreated. She's still, you know, slaving away, doing, you know, chores and all that stuff. And I'll be honest with you. Every time I see Rhodes leave, I think to myself, yeah, he's not coming back this time. You know, like, that's just the constant mindset. It's like, well, he's a huntsman, but he always came back. So in my head, I was like, well, he's always just like you know, he's the light at the end of the tunnel for her. He's like what's keeping her going. You know, she's training, she's fighting, she's getting stronger. You know, 1 year becomes 2 years, 2 years becomes 3 years. And then he mentions at the bottom right, just a few more years and you won't need your guardian's permission. You know, because obviously you would need, like, a parent's permission to go to the academy early or take the you know, the entrance exams or whatever. Unless you had silver eyes, of course. Then you just get in for free. You jump 2 years, rather. But yeah, and, like, she, you know, she gave, like, he gave the sword to her as, like, a seal of approval. It's like, hey, this is your weapon. You earn this now. This is, like, you're well on your way. You're on the road, you know, to starting your own life and putting all of this terrible shit behind you just a little bit longer. I think at this point, so first off, I really like her hairstyle. I like how, like, she ends up, you know, she's obviously older, her hair's getting longer. I like the change in the hairstyle. Very Mistral, I think. It reminded me of Ren's mom's hair. And it also kind of a little bit reminded me of Summer Rose's hair, too. So, yeah, I thought the hairstyle was really cute. And I don't know, this is like, it's so cool. It's crazy to see her in this light. Another thing that I think is really awesome is, like, their training sessions too. Like, Cinder ends up dual wielding because of Rhodes. Right? Like, when we first saw Cinder, she was fighting with dual blades, you know, and then she connected them and it became her bow and arrow, like Volume 2 and Volume 3, the flashback. We saw that a lot, and I was like, holy shit, like, her fighting style is directly taken from, like, her training moments here. So I thought that was really cool. I also like the transition, the time skip transition, where she goes in the room at, like, age 10, and then she comes out of the room, and I think she's, like, maybe 13 or 14 now. Because he says, oh, hold on, let me come back on screen. I'm like, off screen for a bit. Hold on. 1, 3. Okay. So, he ends up saying, like, just a few more years, and you won't need your guardian's permission. And I think the specific term there, few, I think gives us an idea of how long it's been. He said it's been set. No, he says, okay, hold on. He says when she's 10 years old, when he's like, oh, how old are you? I'm 10. All right. So that gives us 7 years to practice, to get you ready for the Huntsman exams. And then the whole, you know, time skip montage, all that stuff happens. And then when he gives her the sword, he says just a few more years and you won't need your guardian's permission. So a couple is 2. A few is typically 3 to 4. So I think now she's either 13 or 14, which means she still has another, I think 3 to 4 years to go. But, like, there is no definitive, of, like, a few means is 3 specifically. It's always a range, you know? Otherwise, you would just say 3 instead of few, you know? That's why people say couple, because couple is 2. You know, it's just another way of saying a number. And I think Rooster Teeth did that because they never give out numbers and dates and, you know, accurate timeline stuff, you know, just to kind of keep things spaced out a bit. It's the cleaning checklist all over again. Yeah. I mean, well, that's always the case. You know, there's never, like, I just think that it's interesting though that we at least knew how old she was initially. She was 10 years old and now she's like 13, 14. You know, she's still not a couple. She's still a few years out from the Huntsman exam, so maybe another 3, 4 years, depending on how old she is now. And no, if she was 15, they wouldn't say a few. I think they would deliberately say a couple. It just depends on how Rooster Teeth's going about it. Only they really know. So I think she's at least 13 to 14 right now, so she's got another 3, 4 years to go. And, you know, unfortunately, shit went down before Rhodes got back. She once scrubbed the floors. Now she scrubs the floors with them. Okay. All right, buddy. You seem to be relishing in this a little too much. A few is 3. I'm just reading some of your comments right now in the chat. I don't know if how old Cinder is compared to Winter, honestly. I think now Cinder is in, like, her early or mid-20s. I honestly want to say maybe she's in her mid-20s now. It's so hard to tell, you know, because this is like, this backstory is completely in a vacuum. Like, if we saw, like, Jacques Schnee walking around, you know what I mean? Like, if we got any external aspect of, like, this kingdom or other characters, right? If this is Atlas, you know, if we saw Jacques Schnee with black hair, maybe we could see, like, oh, wow, Jacques is actually a lot younger here than when we see him now, where he still has some black hair. You know, but it's just like, it's so isolated from everything else that it's hard to put this anywhere on the timeline and be like, okay, this is happening to this, or, you know, whatever the case might be. Yeah, I mean, they're both in their 20s. I don't doubt that they're both probably a couple years apart from each other. But I think Miles said that I think the Krubby said the cutoff age for a maiden is 30. So after you're 30, you can no longer inherit the powers. That doesn't mean that the powers leave you when you turn 30. It's just the powers stay with you until you die. But there is a cutoff age for gaining the power. Yes, there is a cutoff age. I believe they said 30 years old is the cutoff. So if Cinder's still able to get the maiden powers now, if Winter was a candidate, clearly they're not 30. They're in their 20s at this point. The more you know. Yeah. But yeah, so this whole montage goes on, and then as of, you know, of course, as all things go, snitches get stitches. They snitched on Cinder. They were like, Cinder has a weapon. Now, this is Cinder's breaking point, because Cinder's been leveling up. And when you try to take something from someone, and I can attest to this as well, when you grow up with nothing and you have nothing, and then all of a sudden you earn something for yourself and someone tries taking it from you, that can like really like push you over the edge, because it's kind of like ownership is like everything. Like, she's practically owned right now, but to have nothing and then have something and then have someone tell you, you know, try to take that away from you, that was clearly the tipping point for her. Like, and then it's just, you know, all the added interest of like how she's been treated over the years, you know, just everything, like all of the abuse, all of the you know, all of the slave labor. They had it coming, you know? And so the clock struck midnight. Like, I saw it, like, what did you think was gonna happen? They were all just gonna sing Kumbaya. It's like, you know what, Cinder? I love you. Let's start over again, right? Let's you can have that. You can have that strawberry if you want. We'll spread some of the chores around to the other girls. Homicide mode activated. Yes, exactly. Yeah, the clock was coming up on midnight. What was weird, though, is that, like, fucking Rhodes just walks in 5 minutes to midnight, like, hello? You know? It's like, bro, everyone's sleeping. What do you want? I mean, I guess he expected someone to always just be there. But, yeah. Rhodes, he was, like, 5 minutes too late, dude. Actually, what time was it when they first showed up? Hold on, let me see if I can get a look at the clock. Oh boy. Yeah, that's oh man, I think, yeah, I cut out before the clock adjusts itself. Yeah, so it was like 20 minutes. It's like 20 minutes to midnight. Yeah, so it was 11:40 when they go back there. And then it's like 11:55 when Rhodes shows up. So he was like a good, you were like 15 minutes too late, buddy. Which I guess she took her sweet time killing the sisters, if that's how long it took. Or maybe there was, you know, maybe there was a struggle or whatever the case might have been. Because the sisters are on one side of the room and then Cinder's on the other side of the room. And yeah, that, you know, it do be like that sometimes. It's like, now just imagine how life would have turned out if you actually didn't treat her like absolute scum. 11:38 to be exact? Okay. Alright. Who's keeping count anyway? Kill switch engaged? Hey, I like that band. Midnight when Rhodes died? Well, midnight was when, like, they actually started fighting. You can actually hear the clock strike 12. They're just resting. Also, you want to know what's really funny? When you party too hard. All right, guys. All right, y'all are making light of this murder situation. All right, there's some dead bodies chilling over here. Okay, have some tact, for Christ's sake. But yeah, Cinder like just bodied 2 teenagers and just killed her stepmom. I mean, the scene was badass. Like, especially when Cinder's like just getting like shocked and she's just like bracing through it. It's so badass. It's like, all right, this is where Cinderfall was born. It's interesting though. I wonder where she got like, I was gonna say, I wonder where she got her name from, but it's like, I don't know her origin, like her true origin. Like, is that what the orphanage named her? Is that what she was named, you know, if she had family beforehand, before she ended up in the orphanage or whatever? Yeah. Yeah, well, here's another thing, too. Like, I'm just wondering how she killed them, because there's no blood. So I don't think she used the sword at all. Like, a lot of people are like, why was there no... People mentioning, like, why was there no blood in this scene? You got bodies on the floor. It's like, well, that's implying that she used the sword to kill them. But what we don't know, what we don't see, is that she also can, like, superheat her hands. Cinder vented. She, like, actually vented, too, like, earlier in the episode. But, like, not only could she have snapped their neck, but she could have also, like, superheated their necks with her semblance. So, like, yeah, that's just worse. Yeah, she could have just, like, cauterized them as she's choking the life out of them. But, I mean, if she snapped this lady's neck, chances are she did it with the other two as well. Or melted their face off. I mean, maybe. Who knows? Like, we can't see their faces, so I guess you can't say that's not what happened, I guess. But yeah, another thing too, this might be a little graphic, okay? This might be a little graphic. It's from the episode, but it's very subtle. It's easily missed. All right, 3, 2, 1. The mom's eyes are actually like bloodshot right here. So she's actually like, they actually put a little bit of effort and detail into the fact that this lady's like having the life choked out of her. Cause yeah, you can actually like see the redness of her eyes. And yeah. Just wanted to give a little warning there. Enhance. All right, I just wanted to do that just in case it was hard to see, because I know it's a little bit far. Yeah, definitely asphyxiation. Blood vessels are going, all that jazz. Yeah. Yep. Okay, let's backtrack there a little bit. But yeah, I noticed that after I watched the episode a second time, and I was actually like really shocked. I was like, holy fuck, that's actually pretty nuts that they went that far to emphasize like how badly this lady was getting it. Hey, it's like, what, like, I don't know. This is a product of, and this is here where she says it. She's like, you're right. Without you, I'm nothing. But because of you, I'm everything. Because of you, I'm in this situation right now. Because of you adopting me, all of the stars, like everything lined up. I got the training. I got the semblance. I got revenge, right? I got my freedom, appreciate you, madam, but I don't need you anymore. And then just gets rid of her. So at this point, the point of no return. Now, what's a little odd or strange or whatever about this, depending on how you look at it, I guess, is Rhodes' response here. Also, really quick, super freaking cool. I'm going to mention this right now before we get into it. I love that we see a young Rhodes here when like he's first like training with Cinder and all that stuff. And then the bottom one here shows like he has like a scar on his face. He's got some wrinkles. So it shows not only time has passed, but also like the scar on his face. Like he's a huntsman. So he's actually gotten into some tussles. I like that little attention to detail that they put here for him, because I was watching the episode and I was like, did he have that scar when we first saw him? And then I went back and I was like, oh, he didn't. So I thought that was really cool, because I was actually expecting him to die. Like I was expecting him to go on go on like a mission or something and just not come back. And it's like, well, that's the huntsman's lifestyle. You never know if you're gonna come back. And he does, and he's got battle scars and stuff. So I thought that was really cool. I very much appreciated that. And his hair is kind of faded too, so he's got some of those gray hairs. Yeah. It could either be gray hairs or maybe just... Yeah, I mean, it definitely is, because his hair is, like, more vibrant when he's younger on the top, and then at the bottom it's like, okay. Yeah, you're definitely hitting that age, old man. But yeah, yeah, Rhodes could have just stopped the entire show from starting if he had just, like... See, here's the thing. This is where it's very conflicting, because it's like, Rhodes was never, like, a parental figure. I don't think, you know what I mean? Clearly he cared about her, you know, like the head pat and stuff like that. You know, he did it again before he died. It's like he wasn't like her parent or anything. He was like a mentor, and I feel like he could have felt responsible for this. You know what I mean? And him like turning his blades on her could have been like, we'll never know, because it's not said. We can only infer, like, okay, well, why would he not say anything to Cinder other than, all you're gonna do now is run? Is it because he's like, all you're gonna do is run, like, because now you're like you just killed 3 people, I can't just let you get away? But he is technically responsible, because if it wasn't for him training her up, she would have never been in this situation to kill them. You know, even if she didn't kill him with the sword, which I don't think she did. Obviously, she choked out the mom here. But, like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, you created a monster. But it's like, low-key, indirectly, you were doing it with the purpose of her using her power, her strength, for good. You didn't do it to be like, okay, Cinder, you're going to use this power and you're going to kill your family, you're going to get your revenge. No, it was for a positive outlook. It was for the Huntsman Academies. It was for turning your life around. Cinder chose to turn around and use that for... She chose to use it for this reason. You know? And that's what's a bit heartbreaking about it, because it's like... Where Rhodes is caught in the middle between a rock and a hard place, because he can't just let her go. You know? You can't just let Cinder leave. Yeah, like, I mean, I don't know where people fall morally on this, where they're just like, well, did you see how they treated her? Maybe, you know, turned a blind eye. It's like, you just killed 3 people. Granted, two of the sisters, kids are fucking assholes, all right? Who's to say, you know what I mean? Granted, they probably would have been like that their whole lives, but, like, the mom was probably the one that was that was inflicting the actual, like, abuse with, like, the zapper and all that stuff, but I don't know. I don't think these are fighters either. To say self-defense, Cinder, like, bodied all 3 of them. You know, we'll never know. We'll never know for sure. But, if he didn't feel responsible for saving her, why did he feel responsible for punishing? Well, I don't know. It's confusing, because, like, at this point, as a huntsman, you know, like, he is of some authority, and he could also feel responsible for the situation because he's the one that helped her get to this point. I don't know if I don't think he was doing it to, like, kill her, like, obviously subdue her. To him, she's a threat that he is severely miscalculated. You know, I don't think he would have gone through doing any of this if he knew that this was what she was capable of. Or if this is what she was able to do, you know, or this is what she was deciding to do when he wasn't around. The thing is, in this moment, though, is that it's just weird that he didn't try to, like, talk to her. Like, you know, like, why did you do this? Or, you know, talk her down from the situation. He just escalated it immediately. Like, all right, no talking, we're doing this. And, like, she goes from, like, hold on, where is it? Right here. I actually don't think I have it. But, like, yeah, her facial expression here, she goes from, like, holy shit, I actually did that, to concerned, like, why are you drawing your weapon on me, to pissed off, like, oh, so you're gonna fight me too now. Like, oh, so you're just like all of them, you know? You're trying to hold me down, you're trying to hold me back. or whatever she's thinking. And like he's being a cop, you know? I think he could have handled it a little better. You know, at the very least be like, hey, the police are on their way. I don't know what's going to happen from here. I understand why you would have done something like this. I don't necessarily agree with it. I don't know what's going to happen from here. Yeah, like, but just immediate, like, you're bad, I need to put you down. So yeah, this is like the no going back moment for her, you know? And it was all about, you know, she says, like, I don't have to run anymore. You know what I mean? She doesn't have to run anymore. Like, that's her idea of, like, I don't have to run anymore. Like, I don't have to get away from this situation. They're just out of the equation completely. You know, she wants freedom. And that's like Salem too. Like, Salem thought the same thing too, right? Salem wanted but one thing, freedom. And, you know, she's trapped in her own little situation based on all the shit that she did. You know, so it's kind of like Cinder's, I don't know if Cinder's a direct reflection of that, but it's just very interesting to see that they were both trying to obtain something and their actions directly caused them to have the opposite. To have the opposite, I don't know, just to have the opposite outcome to what they actually wanted. Rold ultimately broke her trust and goodwill in huntsmen and huntresses. Name a bigger L. Yeah, I mean, because when you look at it, too, when they first met, he threw his weapons at the ground to show that, you know, to earn her trust, to show that he wasn't a threat. But now he's like, I gotta draw my weapon because you have your weapon, and look at the bodies, you know, look at the floor, you know, look at what you've done. Yeah, I don't know. I just think the lack of communication here is what led to a lot of worse things happening now. You know, it's just no communication. No communication, no de-escalating the situation. It just ramps up. And again, I'm not saying that this man's her responsibility. Like, he's a fucking tenant. He's a patron of the hotel. You know, he just stays here when he's on some downtime mission stuff. But I do think that, you know, given everything, you just look at the situation and how can you not blame yourself or feel like you had some part in this, even though it was indirect? So I could have just seen it of him just being like, okay, I need to take her down or I need to subdue her because she's clearly in this state and she's very unpredictable. I don't know what she's gonna do. And the standoff, the face-off happened. This is a really cool moment, though. I do think it's a little fucked up, though, that you have, like, these mangled bodies, like, off to the side. Also, who moved those girls' bodies out of the way for this fight scene to happen? That wasn't where they were before. I don't know if anyone notices that, but the bodies, like, teleport a couple times during this fight, and I was just like, I didn't notice it initially, but we were having a good laugh about it in the Discord the night the episode came out. It's like, did Rhodes, like, know that they were gonna fight, and he just moved these bodies off to the side? He's like, all right, I'm definitely gonna fight this girl, so while she's having her little monologue moment there with the mom, I'm just gonna scooch these. I'm just gonna, you know, don't mind me. You know, just moving you off to the corner like some freaking, like some furniture, like some trash. But yeah. So really quick, I kind of wish I had gotten the screenshot from the episode, but I forgot to. So, really quick, for those who don't know, all right, because I feel like a lot of people are just gonna, you know, a lot of people might not know this. But the song that plays during the fight scene, the upcoming fight scene, it is not a RWBY song. All right, this song is not made with the show in mind. It has nothing to do with RWBY, has nothing to do with Cinder, but it goes together really, really well. And for those of you who don't know, let me pull this up over here. For those of you who don't know, Casey Lee Williams, the half of the vocals primarily for RWBY. She's done like all the songs for the show throughout all the volumes. She has her own band. If you didn't know, it's called OK Goodnight. And this song was playing, her band song played this during that fight. And it was super cool because it's like, I don't think that's ever really happened before. We've always had like music that was dedicated specifically for the show. But this song was made, I think, a month before this episode came out. It's called Awake. And it's off of her new EP called Under the Veil that came out last month. And I actually didn't know that initially. Like, I obviously knew that Casey had a band, but I've been kind of out of the loop lately. And I had no idea that she dropped 4 new songs in the last month. So the song is a bop. Like, it slaps. It's a really, really good song. And it's on YouTube. It's on iTunes, which is where I bought it. It's also on Spotify, if you didn't know. So these 4 new songs came out during the summer. Not during the summer. During last month, during November. She dropped 4 extra songs. And this song was created, it's isolated from the show in any way. So you can't, you know what I mean? Like, everybody else kind of like, whenever a new song comes out, they try to think to themselves, okay, who's this song based on? Like, can we extrapolate anything on the character? Like, that's just kind of the typical song and dance. They find out the lyrics, and then they try to attach it to a character. That is not the case. This is a song excluded from RWBY that was incorporated because it kind of like, it really went well with the fight. And even some of the lyrics, you could literally just take them and associate them with Cinder at that point. So, I don't know, it was just like a cool collaboration that Casey did with her dad in the show. And again, it's of her original band that she created. So, and she also has, you know, she's had an album out for a while now. So, again, if you guys don't know, it's on YouTube, it's on iTunes, it's on Spotify, if you guys haven't checked it out just yet. Yeah, I guess we can say it's a Casey song. Yeah, there we go. But yeah, I think that's super, super cool that you know, she's grown so much as a singer, and like she has her own band now, and now her band, the band itself is performing in the show that, you know, she's really well known for. So I think that's I thought that was really, really cool, and I just wanted to share that for those of you who didn't know. But with all that said, we got a really cool, very quick, but it was still a pretty dope fight sequence here between Cinder and Rhodes. Unfortunate, of course, and this is again where I actually realized, oh shit, his semblance, it reminds me of Greed from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, because I was one of those people that didn't notice it initially, for one reason or another. But yeah, the standoff moment, like the moment where they just face out, like this moment right here was such a badass moment. It's just both of them just, and then the music just, like, you hear the last toll of the midnight clock striking 12, and then the music kicks in, and they're just like standing off at each other, you know, one-hand weapon, two-handed weapon, and then they just go at it. I just thought that was a really, really cool sequence. And set up for that initial face-off. Let's see. Yeah. It is confirmed that the song is put in after the fact. Yeah, which again, I think it's really cool. I mean, Jeff composes and does all the songs for RWBY, you know what I mean? And it's his daughter's band, like, you know, why not put his daughter's band, you know, performing a song in the show? I'm just wondering now, like, is that going to mean that we're going to have her band song on the Volume 8 soundtrack? You know, because it's on her EP. So, or maybe we'll just get a different RWBY song to replace it. I don't know. I just think it would still be kind of cool to have this cameo song, if you will, on the RWBY soundtrack. I don't think I've ever really seen something like that done, at least for a show that also has a soundtrack tied to it. Love how they show Rhodes' semblance earlier too, when he catches the mace Cinder puts up when they first met. Yeah, I mean, again, like, I didn't notice that, so to me, it's like, holy shit, it actually showed both of them fighting relatively well. They both had, like, they both got a bit of a an edge over the other person during the fight. We got to see both of them using their semblances. Obviously, this is the result of constant training between them two. So it's, obviously seeing Cinder, all of the practice and training that Cinder's done too, both of their aura breaks. But the thing is here is that Cinder's the kid, So Rhodes, thinking that he's subdued Cinder, unfortunately, yeah, the song is called Awake, by the way. Yeah, I mentioned it a little while ago. It was on screen there. But yeah, the song is called Awake. And it's also in the credits of the episode if you want to go back and double check that. But it is credited by OK Goodnight, Casey Williams' band. And it did come out before, and it was created before they considered a song for this. So it's completely removed from the show. Which I still feel like some people are going to tie it to Cinder, even though it's literally impossible. But anyways, let's see. Also, I found that it was really weird that there's just a bag of flour. Just a bag of flour just chilling on the floor in this room. I mean, it makes sense, right? Like, they make cake and stuff like that in the house. So, the ingredients. It's just weird that a bag of flour was just chilling in this storage room. But yeah, the fight itself was really cool. I just find it very odd that Cinder, a 14-year-old girl at this point, just like somewhat outclassed a veteran huntsman. Again, I do think that there is a bit of a handicap here. This is a grown-ass man fighting a little kid. He, hit her twice and her aura broke. She broke his aura too, but he probably just came from a mission or something. But yeah, I also like the idea that she stole his other sword on his waist there. And again, a big reference to how she dual wields in the past. So I thought that was really awesome that she used the bag of flour to get his sword. And again, it's oh, okay, well, I see why she dual wields now, because she's, that's how she developed her fighting style in the past. Literally pocket sand. But yeah, and unfortunately, that's what happens when you let your guard down. You always die when you let your guard down, dude. And it kind of sucks because, he still pats her head. And, if you look closely, it shows, her eyes trembling when he does that. She probably realizes, what she did was absolutely fucked up. You just killed the only, the only good you've ever known in this world. And, you guys exchanged absolutely no words. And that's probably the most baffling part of all of this, believe it or not, is that this entire fight went down. These bodies were, these people were killed, and there's just no word. You know what I mean? It's like the anti-anime logic. Usually, before a fight, you basically talk for half of the episode, and then you fight. But they were just fuck this shit. We're doing the anti-anime role. We're going the anti-anime route. We're just gonna fight and have no talking and completely remove any sense of logic or reasoning for this, and for any of this happening. And essentially, we're building our villain that way. Imagine if Rhodes stopped Cinder, we probably wouldn't have the show right now, or the show that as we know it. Walk it off, Rhodes, walk it off. Yeah, so their semblance broken, he can't use his semblance to harden himself or give himself rock hard abs or whatever the case might have been. And unfortunate. So she kills him, and she also breaks her pendant off, looks up at the moon and cries true freedom, I guess. At this point, she goes on the run. She's not going to stick around and wait for something to happen. So here's the thing. Now we can complain about the lack of blood, because she literally just stabbed Rhodes through the stomach and out of his back. Not a speck of blood on the sword or on the floor. So have at it, ladies and gentlemen. Which I find to be really odd because they had blood in the Adam. They had blood in the Adam character short, right? When he like shot that one dude. Oh no, when he moon sliced that one guy, you just saw a pool of blood just like leave that dude's body. And so it's like, I know Rooster Teeth isn't shy of doing blood and stuff. It's just, you know, it was another weird scene when Salem goes and like stabs herself in the volume 6 flashback, right? The Lost Fable. She like stabs herself, and it's like, I get she's immortal, but she can still bleed. And there's just like no blood on the sword. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. There was also blood later in that sequence. Wait, there was? Maybe I'm missing something. Let Ruby bleed. Yeah, there was blood in volume 5, volume 6, volume 7. Oh yeah, they showed Clover get freaking filleted open. Yeah, there was definitely blood on that, and blood on the sword. Maybe they didn't want to do it because it was a little kid. All right, I'll chalk it up to that. I also think that's kind of bullshit because a little kid just bodied 4 people, like body bags. Like Cinder's on a 4 kill streak right now so far. She started her track record really well. She killed 4 people in one day. That's how she made a name for herself. That's actually insane. Quadruple kill. Like, now that I think of it, she killed 4 people that night and then just went on her way. If anyone was smart, they'd be like, wait a minute. The daughters of the hotel keeper and like the most popular like huntsman of the area are all dead. What's missing in this equation? Oh, what happened to that little girl that was like working here? She's gone now. Yeah. I mean, honestly, the Clover scene, if they didn't have blood, it would have just been such a weird vibe. Adam had blood. Yeah, you're right. Ruby needs more blood, Kruby, if you're listening. We need blood. We need a blood sacrifice. All right, that's what we need. During the hiatus, we need you all to understand, like, okay, going into the second half, we need blood at all times. All right? We need a blood oath for the community. Oh, okay, so really quick, I do want to give a quick shout out to a fellow RWBY community member on Twitter, because I didn't want to just, like, mention this because I didn't find any of this shit out. This was actually something that I discovered over the week, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, so I want to showcase this and share it to you guys, and also give this person a shout out, because this is actually kind of cool. It goes over a bit of the design details between Rhodes and Cinder, you know, and maybe it could imply, like, the decisions that went into some of the weapons that she's used, or her outfit designs over the years and stuff. So I want to give a quick shout out to, Chow Ferreira, I think that's how you say, I hope that's how you say their name. At the Chow Ferreira on Twitter. And I thought this was a really cool hold on. Oh, Kaio. Okay, I'm an idiot. Oh yeah, it is Kaio. All right, never mind. Anyways, I'm awful at naming names. All right, leave me alone. Anyways, this is the... Actually, can I enhance this? Let me see if I can... hold on. No, let me... Enhancing. That's actually from the browser, too, so that's pretty cool. So, basically, they made the tweet that says, some design details I caught between Cinder and Rhodes. So, the design differences here, they mentioned that hairstyle like Rhodes after meeting him, so, like, his hair is, like, parted off to the side like that, and then, you know, obviously... You know, she gets a bit of a hair design change, but, you know, her hair is a little, you know, sloops down the side of her face, kind of like his. You know, I can see it. I can definitely see it. The one that really shocked me, that I was like, oh, shit, was the sword inspired by the gift sword that he gave her. And this sword was from volume 5. So it's not like a direct comparison sword, but I think this is like the coolest one and probably the one that was deliberate, right? He basically has a scimitar. It has like this little hilt point right here that's pretty, you know, distinct. And then this one's, again, like I said, it's not similar, but like she made a scimitar of all weapons, and it looks very similar to the one that she was given by him. Arnold, you can enhance by holding down and moving the mouse wheel. What the fuck? Oh, I didn't know that. I mean, I don't know, like, hotkeys and shit like that when it comes to the, you know. All I know is just, like, here, you click the zoom and, you know, you get this. Ah! Okay. You get the same results. Anyways. This one, which I don't really... I mean, the colors aren't similar, like, at all. So this one could have been a bit of a stretch, but, like, we don't really know, like, the feather brooch or whatever, the significance of that. However, the brooch center is a diamond, and it could be, it could damn well be the fucking diamond itself that she, like, broke off her neck at the very end there. So, the diamonds are very similar, you know, from the brooch center. And her neck scar. So she did get a neck scar from, like, obviously the electrical shocks and all of that stuff. And so they did mention that her neck is always covered. So, like, in the earlier vault, like the beacon arc, it was covered by a choker, and then the Mistral arc, she had, you know, this outfit here that kind of covered her neck a little bit. And then obviously this one, I'm a little iffy on this one too, because she did have an outfit, and maybe you can chalk it up to poser, or maybe they didn't know what her backstory would be necessarily. But there is an outfit that she had, like, where she had, like, the bandages and stuff like that during the Vital Festival, where you did see her neck, and there wasn't any indication of scarring or anything like that. But yeah, other than that, you know, I thought this was a very, very interesting, uh-oh. Now I'm in full screen. Why am I like this? All right, let's reset this back, yeah. So again, shout out to Kyle Ferreira. Sorry for butchering your name earlier, I apologize. I don't know if they're in here either, but if any of you guys use Twitter, go in, tweet at the Kyle Ferreira, let them know that I gave them a shout out and that we all really enjoyed their insight here with the findings that they had on this week's chapter. I wanted to do it right and giving them proper credit, because, you know, I didn't find any of this shit out myself, and I thought it was cool enough to shout somebody out over on Twitter. But yeah, so like I said, that was really cool. I really, really liked that. And, all right, give me 1 second, or let me clear that. Uh-oh. Hold on. Give me 1 second. What did Kaylin think of the backstory? I think she has a video on it. I think she's kind of mixed about it, honestly. Okay. Also, we do have a poll for next week. Or for this week, technically, so make sure you guys stick around for that as well. I mean, we still have a bit more of the episode to get through. yeah, Calaxon did do a live stream discussion on the chapter as well. Yeah, I miss Poser too. Poser's such a classic, though. I can't say I miss it necessarily, because I think RWBY looks way better than it ever did on Poser, but, like, for nostalgia, you know what I mean? That's how the show started, and it's got, like, a nostalgic charm to it. But yeah, I mean, I liked Poser for what it gave us for the show during the early days of the volume, for sure. All right, let's see. Yeah, so the fight happens, Rhodes dies, RIP, miscalculated, I think mishandled of the entire situation, no communication. I think just talking to her and de-escalating the situation would have done wonders. For just talking to her, letting her know that she wasn't, like, bad or evil for doing that, like, maybe I don't know about misguided, but, like, obviously a terrible decision. You know, because he did mention to her, like, no matter what, you're going to be running forever. And she still is, You know what I mean? Like, nothing has changed for her. The people she surrounds herself has changed. The environment has changed, but the systematic, like, the abuse, the trauma, the reminders, right? The triggers, all of that is still very present. I wonder why she says, "Without you, I am nothing," to Salem. Because I don't know if Salem would tell her to say something like that. She's probably saying that instinctively based on how she was raised. You know what I mean? And there's somebody else here that's assuming that motherly or parental role or guidance role for her at this point. It could be like regressing, you know what I mean? She's just saying that because it's like, you know, it's a part of that trauma. It's a part of that past. You know, it's a coping mechanism. It could be a million different things. And I think it all comes back to, you know, everything that's happened to her up until this point. So, again, like I said, I really wish the backstory was the whole episode. I think I don't know how long tomorrow's episode's gonna be, but obviously they needed to forward the plot to get us to the point where all the crazy shit is gonna go down in the mid-season finale. But the part of the backstory that we didn't get, which was, in my opinion, something that I was much more looking forward to, was what happens after that. How does Cinder find Salem? Or how does Salem find Cinder? What happens in the years following this incident? How does the maiden situation fall into Cinder's lap? Because when we first see Cinder, chronologically speaking, she already knows Salem. You know, she's going after Amber and all that stuff. You know, she's finding Emerald, she's finding Mercury, she's finding Torchwick and Adam and all that stuff. And then, you know, when, you know, we hear the backstory and all that other stuff, and, you know, she's talking to Salem from a distance or on the phone or whatever, she already knows her. So, like, that relationship is already established. I don't know if we'll get, like a part 2 backstory, like a follow-up to what happened to her, because I don't really think that's... I think they have too much stuff too many beats to hit for Atlas to really go back to that. Or maybe we'll get that in the future, or maybe, you know, more directly with Salem. I think a volume focus more so on the villains would be a very interesting one. I don't know. It's a give or take at this point. It just really depends on what the villains are going for moving forward. We also didn't get a backstory on Adam. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I think they really just aren't that interested in giving us something like that. It doesn't fulfill the overarching plot as much as it does, you know, satisfying a few fans who were either fans of Adam or would like that extra bit of storytelling for the character, you know, because he's been gone for a couple of volumes at this point. And everything comes down to screen time. You know, unfortunately, I can only imagine how many things get cut from the show because of screen time, because of, you know, there's only an X amount of time that they're allotted to give us something. But yeah, with all that said, unfortunately, you know, with all things considered, Cinder's in the situation that she's in now. She's in no difference of a situation. It's just the stakes are raised even more so for her. The fear is raised even more so for her. The likelihood, you know, the disappointment of her failing is 10 times worse than anything she would have experienced, I think, back at the Glass Unicorn or even at the barn or whatever. And, you know, she's just kind of going through this vicious cycle of the same experience over and over again. It's just progressively worse than the former. So Emerald brings her back, doesn't get so much as a thank you, you know. I think courtesy at this point, I don't know, man. Like, I was just like, Emerald, you should just get used to this or simp for somebody else. Also, I gotta be really careful about saying simp because apparently you can get in trouble on Twitch for saying simp now. Luckily, we're a lot better off in good old YouTube land, at least for now. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But yeah, Emerald needs to find someone else to simp over, or I don't know, just get used to it, I guess. But I don't know, that really annoyed me. I was like, you got absolutely bodied by Penny. Like 1v1, you got like objectively wrecked, and like at this point, I don't know. I just don't know what's wrong with you as like a fighter. Like, you got the maiden power, you got the grim power, yeah, maybe just a little too heavy, a little too hungry for you know, just wanting results that you're not you're not the brightest crayon in the box, I should say. And so, you know, everything else just kind of fell apart in that fight because of her own decision making or lack thereof. And I just think it's still messed up that regardless of that, she's not even like, hey, thanks. I mean, it'd just also be weird. I think Cinder just needs a reality check or a break from this atmosphere to really have a sense of like appreciation for the people who have, you know, stuck by her side this whole time. And you kind of see that transition with Mercury when he shows up, you know, and he mentions like, and Mercury's been telling Emerald like it is since volume 5, volume 6, when he was like, you know, we're gonna be top dogs in Salem's world. You know, Cinder doesn't care about you. Like, you're actually delusional if you ever thought that for a second. And on poor Emerald over here, fucking Stockholm syndrome, freaking like is empathizing with someone like Cinder just because she took her off the streets. Doesn't realize that she's ultimately just a tool. You're used for your semblance and for helping make Cinder's job easier. Nothing more, nothing less. You're not a friend. You're not a lover. You're nothing to her. And it kind of sucks that she treats someone like Emerald like this, because Emerald came from the dirt. She came from the nothing, almost in the same way that she did. And, you know, again, it's a reflection of Cinder's upbringings, where she came from, how she was treated, having nothing, no barometer, nothing to compare how she was raised to. So it only makes sense that she treats Emerald the same way that she was treated, which, again, doesn't bode well for anyone, I think, long term. You're not even my sister from another mister. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. Just reading some of y'all's comments. Mercury spitting straight facts, though. Oh, definitely. I mean, definitely he is. And, like, I like that Mercury's able to just think for himself. He's not saying to himself, like what favors did Cinder do for Mercury? He killed his dad. He was actually able to stand on his own 2 feet, you know, all things considered. And, like, at the end of the day, it's still, like, you know, he's still helping Cinder more than Cinder's helping him out. And the fact that she treats them like shit, Mercury's at the very least able to be like, you know what? Like, Salem's got some bigger things for me. I'm actually not going to be taking orders from you anymore. And did you see, like, her reaction when he says that? Like, she actually seems, like, really crushed, like, really hurt by that. About the idea of, like, holy shit, this, you know, like the things that she worked up and built up for herself, Torchwick, Emerald, Mercury, Neo now, you know, everything else is being taken from her. And, like, I don't know if that's because of her, you know what I mean? And it could possibly be because of the way she treats these people. You know, it's like, hey, we do everything for you and this is how we're treated. Well, I'm going to go and join this other cool kids club, you know, because I got better things going for me. And meanwhile, she's just like, get out, both of you. I'll call you when you're needed. What you should be saying is, Emerald, thank you for saving me, because I probably would have died from that robot if it wasn't for you. And Neo, thank you for getting the relic back from me. And sorry that I took all the credit there and gave you none of it. And Mercury, thank you for helping with the fall of Beacon and forwarding a lot of our plot forward because of your actions. You know what I mean? It's just like, you know, a bit of kindness goes a long way, Cinder. You can learn from that. But of course, Cinder doesn't serve anyone. You know, that's what she said. Yeah, Cinder doesn't know how to express it. I mean, well, she she's gonna lose a lot more than that. And yeah, I did kind of like for that moment right there. I'm like, oh damn, she actually seems kind of hurt by the fact that Mercury's like going on to bigger and better things. But yeah, I mean, Cinder, Salem is the big cheese at the end of the day. Like that is your new madam. That is your new madam, and all of these people that are with her are all of your stepbrothers and sisters, and you're in the exact same situation you were in years ago. Also, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but I thought this was a cool parallel to the same way that the madam and the twin, you know, and the sisters leave the room, Emerald and Mercury leave the room, and like the fade, you know, the fade out was kind of similar as well. So I really liked that, and just felt like I felt like that was worth showcasing. All right, hold on, give me 1 second. Let me get through some of these super chats because I don't want to completely neglect y'all. The first warning flag should have been for her trying to hurt/kill a random person by hurling a sword at him. I mean, I guess. Yeah, that's always the first step to it's like, okay, I don't know about this one. Thank you for the $5 super chat, Lycon 0. King Callum, King Kalam. My thing is, if he noticed the abuse, why didn't he call the cops? Like is owning slaves legal in the world of Remnant? Well, the thing is, it's not. Well, first off, like who's to say anyone would give a shit? Number one, you know. Number two, you're an Atlas, so it's like. You know, it's like, oh, my kid's working a little extra hard and everybody else, you know what I mean? It's like, he can't, you know, it's like, why would he stick his nose in other people's business? He's a huntsman, he's doing his job, he's noticing it, but at the end of the day, it's like, what can he do? He has no solid evidence either. You know, all he's really doing is just noticing, like, oh shit, you know, that one gets it a little bit worse, if not at all, compared to the other two. But at the same time, yeah, it's not really his place to butt in. Not to mention, like, the madam could easily just be like, well, she's not a slave. She just works here. She has, you know, we feed her, we clothe her, we give her a place to sleep, all that other stuff. Isn't the shot collar evidence? Well, that's the thing. That's if you're looking for something like that, but you would have to have a case in the matter. You know? You would have to say to yourself, what would Rhodes need to do in order, you know what I mean? If Cinder was asking for help, or if it was that bad, you know, I feel like it would get to that point. But at the same time, he was just trying to give her a way out herself, like an opportunity for a better future, you know, because this wasn't going to last forever. Yeah. Also, I can see the madam having, like, yeah, Fireheart, like, the madam could have, like, clout or be renowned just as much as Jacques, you know, for her hotel and all the people that stay there, and, you know. Atlas is also pretty corrupt. I genuinely think no one would give a shit, to be honest. All right, let's see. Good to see you, Arnold. I gotta say, the song during the battle made it incredibly hype. I agree, Pigeon Power. Thank you for the $15 super chat. Like I mentioned, Casey's band popped off during that moment. I really liked that. And the song is out for those of you who want to hear the full version. It's really good. Tobias, thank you for the $5 super chat. Cinder uses many different weapons as the maiden, but she has not used Rhodes' maces yet. We were actually talking about that in the Discord this past week, about that specifically. Like, she summoned a bow and arrow, a sword, a spear, and I was we were wondering that. We were wondering, like, is there a significance to the weapons that she summons? Because the sword looks very familiar to the sword that Rhodes gave her as a gift when she was younger. So it's either a matter of time, or it was just a coincidence. And, you know, we might not actually see those maces, or maybe we'll see those maces now that we know what the maces look like, you know, for future events, you know, because if we see regular random maces, it's like, well, what the hell? Why is she summoning those? But now that we have further context, maybe we can get those maces in the future instead of everything being a retroactive, you know, reference. Whiskey Witch, I think Cinder was upset by what Mercury said because it's not that she doesn't care for Emerald, she doesn't know how to express those feelings. I can somewhat see that. I just think that, like, I can understand that. Like, again, it comes down to how she was raised and the fact that, but I still feel like to a degree you need to have some level of common sense to understand and look at what these people have done for you. I just hope that she sees it sooner rather than later, because these people, you know, Emerald still sticks her neck out for her. And the reason Mercury's ditch is you know, is hightailing it out there because it's been how many years that she's treated them like assets. She doesn't treat them like people. And so, who in the world said Cinder has common sense? I mean, why wouldn't we assume she has common sense? Yeah. I feel like if it is a devastating struggle for her, something's got to give. One of these characters has to break through to her and express to her how much they value. I think it's going to be Emerald. It has to be Emerald, right? Neo can't talk. Mercury's on to, like, a new venture in his life. And so I feel like Emerald would have to be the one to be like, hey, this is how I feel about you. This is how, you know, you helped me so much out of this situation, and just get her to try to see that. Yeah. The assets are also guns. Yeah. Yeah, I think at the end of the day that question, or that comment rather, really just comes down to the fact of, like, this is just ingrained in her from her whole life. And, you know, for someone who's never had friends, and for someone who's always been used by others, it's just a prison that she finds herself in, and I don't know how she's going to get out of it. It could potentially be Ozpin that helps her find that, or Oscar, rather, that helps her find that resolve. Didn't I mention in the last discussion the next time we see Oscar, he's going to be battered and bruised? Remember I said that? I was like, hey, we didn't see Oscar the entire last episode. You know why? It's because he's been getting the freaking the stuffing beaten out of him the entire episode. And he's got a black eye. He's just, like, covered in dirt. His clothes are destroyed. He's, like, just looks absolutely awful. The dude got turned into compost. Yeah, he's like, I'm now one with the compost. Not the stuffing. Yeah. But someone asked earlier, like at the very beginning of the discussion, somebody asked me that question. They said, do you think, I think they said something along the lines of, do you think Cinder would break away from Salem? And I honestly think it was foreshadowed in this episode that it'll either be Cinder or it'll be Hazel that breaks away from, that they try to help, you know, that they try to sabotage. Because we already know how Cinder feels about Salem. Like, she doesn't truly believe that she serves anyone. And so she's obviously in it for her own personal gain, which is the maiden powers. You know, she's power hungry. She wants all of that for herself. And then there's Hazel, who seemed very, it looked like he was kind of coming around to the situation that Oscar was presenting to him. And let's actually fast forward. So they're obviously talking here about, like, okay, clearly Salem has a very specific way of going about her business. She can't fight the whole world because that would clearly be a losing battle. So she sends her lackeys to go and sabotage us from the inside. Maybe we should do the same. Maybe we should give her a little taste of her own medicine. And then Hazel comes in and absolutely ruins everything. Like, Yeah. Just completely, like, kicks this kid's front, like, just kick the front door and just freaking back at work, throwing around Oscar, kicking him around, all that jazz. And I will say I do respect the fact that Ozpin is consistently asking Oscar for consent before taking over, because obviously a lot of people felt very conflicted about that idea, about the idea that, like, in Volume 5, Ozpin was just doing it. Like, he was like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm just going to take over because you're going up against this guy, Hazel, and you clearly don't know what you're in for. And this is about self-preservation, so I'm sorry you're being stubborn, but I'm going to take over from here. So I do like that Oscar's taking the reins. You know, he's being very respectful of... He's being very respectful of Oscar's wishes of, you know, he's also using that strategically, because he's like, I'm a little kid. Hazel clearly feels bad. He's holding back. If it was you, Oz, we'd probably be dead I'd probably be dead right now. I'd be, like, pissing blood at this point because, like, he can't stand you. I don't know about the decision there, but Ozpin did take over eventually. So I think at that point, Oscar probably was like, all right, maybe this is worth, maybe, you know, we can try to convince Hazel right here and now because it's only him that's here. A willing meat shield, yeah. Let's see. I think that everything in Cinder's life is disposable because she believes that she has always been disposable. Yeah, I mean, that's valid just as much as anything else that we've seen her go through in her life, you know? So I mean, I just think there has to be some, like, new light at the end of the tunnel for her, or she's going to lose the people that have stuck by her side this whole time. And all she's going to have is power. And at the end of the day, I feel like she is disposable to even Salem. You know, once she gets all 4 of these maidens, you know, I think Salem knows just as well as anyone else, like, what Cinder is going to try to pull. I think Salem knows the potential that Cinder has to... I honestly think Salem also knows that Cinder has, like, this big ego in her head that she thinks that she doesn't serve Salem, that somehow she's going to pull a reverse Uno and be like, ha, I got you all along. You know what I mean? Like, I have the 4 maiden powers. No one can stop me, not even you. And I feel like I'm gonna pity Cinder from that perspective of, like, you literally thought you thought you can trick the trickster, and it's gonna I don't know, it's gonna come back around and bite her. But regarding Hazel here, I really want to know, man, like, because, like, when we talk about, like, the backstory and, like, how each of these characters found Salem, that is how Salem convinced them to join her. Like, what did Salem tell them? You know what I mean? What did Salem tell them about Ozpin? What did Salem tell them about herself? You know what I mean? Hazel calls her a force of nature, that he's seen it firsthand, right? That she is just a product of the cause, like, she's a product of the universe, and she is just a natural, like, we know that's not true. We know she's a human. We know that she was cursed, and we know now that she's using that to her advantage. But I just wonder how much she's told them, or how much she hasn't told them, or how much she spun the story and manipulated these people to just blindly follow and believe her. Because Ozpin was so close to getting through to Hazel, because he said something to Hazel that gave Hazel pause, that made him think to himself, wait, what? Go on? And then Salem showed up at the nick of time and stopped him. He said, you know, Salem isn't a force of nature because Salem can be fought unless she brings the relics together, if that happens. And he was like, if that happens, and then Salem cut him off. So I really do think, like, the sabotage might come from Hazel. Hazel, to me, has always been the character that has been the most level-headed in his motivations and why he you know, he doesn't take out his frustration or his end goal on anyone else, just Ozpin, right? And if we look at the situation, we don't even know how his sister died. And again, I'll keep bringing this up because I feel like it's incredibly relevant. But if his sister was somehow involved in dying through Grimm, that means Salem is just as responsible for it as, you know, I mean, you want to say that Ozpin's responsible, but Ozpin's trying to find a solution to these problems that Salem is creating. And I think that is partially like a way of getting through to him. Like, if he's able to see, like, Salem hasn't been telling you the whole truth completely. If you get all these relics, everyone is going to die. And for him to take pause like that, it kind of seemed like he made a breakthrough, and he just has to follow up on that the next chance that he gets. I just don't know if there'll be another chance, you know? A part of me also felt like it could be Cinder. I don't know about, because, like, her goal is the relics, right? I don't think she has a vendetta for Oz at all. But, like, her end goal is the relics. So, I'm sorry, not the relics. Sorry, the maidens. Her end goal are the maidens. Do you think that Salem may have gotten to Cinder while she was still at the hotel, just thinking of the fairy godmother reference? I don't think so. Not a place like Atlas. I feel like it was probably after she left there. But yeah, I'm still perplexed about that whole situation too. But yeah, Cinder's goal are the maidens. So, like, the only way I can look at that is if Ozpin gets through to Cinder and it makes Cinder go rogue. It doesn't make her join them, but it doesn't, you know what I mean? Like, if she's able to get the Winter Maiden powers and the Fall Maiden powers, you know what I mean? Who's to say that she just won't leave this situation, track down Raven, you know, because now it's 2 maiden powers versus 1 maiden power, and, like, completely overpowers Raven, goes back to Mistral, gets her, gets 3 maiden powers, and then she's ready and beefed up for Vacuo. You know what I mean? Because, like, I don't know. Like, I still feel like Cinder is going to think back on the Spring Maiden, and also the fact that, like, she got completely styled on by Raven. And I think she wants just all of the power for herself. Even if the power is no longer relevant for getting the relics, I think she'll still want to seek that out for herself no matter what. We don't know who the Summer Maiden is yet. All we can really imply is that they are somewhere in Vacuo. I don't know if the book has maybe alluded to who it might be, or maybe we've already been interacted with the character who might be the Summer Maiden in the books, but I don't think we do not know who it is just yet. Do you think Salem has a semblance? No. Not currently? Okay. I don't think Salem has a semblance, because a semblance is like the residual magic passed down through the generations. So the magic that Salem has is what eventually turns into semblances for the second generation of humanity. I'm pretty sure that's like the going theory right now. So Ozpin and Salem, I don't believe, have semblances. I think Ozpin's hosts have semblances, but Ozpin himself has magic, and Salem herself has magic. And Salem can also control the fucking Grimm. So if you want to consider a semblance, that's the closest thing you're going to get. BlazeStar25, thank you for the $5 donation. I think Cinder's actually going to turn out a lot like Azula from Avatar. Someone who uses power and fear to control others, but once those around her have had enough, they'll leave and she'll be left with nothing. I think that's a very good assessment. I feel like a lot of people, too many people, I think, compare her to Zuko, not realizing that I think she fits the bill more with power hungry, with a little, like, not crazy, at least not yet, right? Like, power hungry, manipulated herself, right? Azula was manipulated by her parents, or by the father, really, to kind of fall in line and be that successor that he wanted her to be. And you know, there's a bit of tragedy there with their upbringings in different ways and stuff like that. But yeah, I think that I could definitely see that happening as time goes on. Obviously not one-to-one comparing, but yeah, she's going to lose everything that she has, and she's not going to realize what she's had until it's gone, because she only cares about the superficial things that she thinks is important, and that she thinks that will bring her, I don't know, happiness or meaning or purpose or fulfillment, when it's really the people, you know what I mean? The friends you made along the way. I don't know if that's even good to say too, because they're all doing fucked up shit together. But yeah. Long story short, Salem shows up at the perfect time and cuts my man off. But I do think that there is hope for Hazel. I think for Hazel, there is that chance of hearing out the truth. He just needs to get Hazel alone again. And if Hazel's still going to be beating the snot out of Oscar for those answers, we might get that opportunity. I don't know if that's even a possibility either, because like Atlas is about to be completely overrun. I have no idea how the episode is going to fare for next week's chapter, for tomorrow's chapter rather, and that's the mid-season finale. I think we should expect a massive fucking cliffhanger that we have to wait 7 to 8 weeks to find out the results of, and then we get a finale for the volume that we have to sit on for months until volume 9. But yeah, I think Hazel is going to be the breakthrough. I feel like he's the most headstrong. I feel like he's the most sensible and rational of all of these people. He won't I think he'll consider what Ozpin has to say. He won't necessarily just be like, what? You know what I mean? Just flip sides cold turkey, you know? And Hazel might be the reason why Oz gets out. Because I don't expect Oz and Oscar to stay with her forever. Or be held captive forever. The rest of the gang doesn't even know Oz is back, for Christ's sake. Anyways, transitioning from there, we're in the bridge area. We see the dog. The dog is not Tyrion. I'm sad because I kind of had that crack theory. I was like, wait a minute. We've never seen Tyrion and the Hound at the same place at the same time, and that's almost like a pet to her, and she was petting Tyrion in the last episode, and yeah. I was like, I actually said in my reaction, I'm like, all right, Tyrion's not the Hound. Feels bad, man. The dog's not a person. Yeah, I mean, I just assume that at this point it's probably a byproduct of Grimm and her magic, you know? The same way that Ozpin uses his magic for cool shit, like making the maidens and, and turning Crow and Raven into birds. She probably did the same thing with the Grimm, just used a bit of her magic to kind of elevate them a bit. The Hound is Rhodes, calling it now. Oh boy. Where's Rhodes been for the last 8 volumes, my guy? How did Cinder not notice what this Hound was until just now? Until like 2 episodes ago? It's Forrest. Stop it! Let Forrest rest in peace, you savages. My goodness. Got freaking Forrest is probably rolling in his grave right now. Every time you guys mention him, it's Cial Soleil. Oh, God. It's Dudley. It's Little Timmy. It's Summer. Yeah, a lot of people think it's Summer. It's Pilot Boy. It's Councilman Sleet, guys. Come on. Come on. Clearly. Who's a character that died this volume? Of course. It's Grimm and nothing else. I hope we learn at least about the Hound, how the fuck she made it. I mean, that's a sophisticated Grimm, dude. Like, that's unlike anything we've ever seen. And, yep, the whole gang now knows that Watts is alive, has been helping Ironwood with Penny. I can only imagine, like, I wish I could see Ozpin's reaction to that when he found out, when he heard that they said that, like, Watts is working with Ironwood to get the Winter Maiden. Like, Ozpin probably facepalmed so hard at that point, like, this fucking guy. I sure know how to pick him, right? I handpicked my headmasters. I handpicked Leo Lionheart, who became a traitor and a coward at that. You know, sold out every huntsman in his kingdom just to save his own skin. I handpicked Ironwood, the, like, the embodiment of fear and paranoia, right? And like, logic over emotions. I don't know what Theodore is like. I still have to read the books, but he does not. I don't know. And then Ozpin's just a big fat liar. So just a big fucking shit show of huntsmen and headmasters. Theodore is a Chad. Theodore is a treat. Yeah. I'm gonna try to read the books this before volume 9. Like, I want to have the books read before we go to Vacuo. Oh boy, oh boy. Galinda was the only good thing of this freaking group, and she hasn't been around for years. Thank fucking God we know that she still exists in the world somewhere, you know, in that beautiful Maya engine. Yeah. This part right here, dude. I think I mentioned it too. I mean, I called that, right? Like, I was talking about how in the intro, when her hand's hurting, I was like, I think Salem's gonna eventually kill Cinder. Because, like, she's just, like, unruly and just does whatever she wants and she doesn't listen and she doesn't bear results or anything like that. This is, in my humble opinion, this is a master class act in manipulation. Like, Cinder just reprimanded her. Like, just, you know what I mean? Like, she just gave her, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like you punish and then you give immediate reinforcement. You know, like, you give her the one thing you know she wants, so that way she follows through with it. Yeah, the carrot on the stick. Yeah, I think that's what I'm trying to get at here. Yeah, but, like, there's negative reinforcement, which is like, okay, I gotta zap you because you clearly did a bad thing. And that's, like, triggering, like, everything that, like, this is just bringing up so much fucked up shit of her past. And at the very brink of that, she's like, wait a minute. It's all my fault. I gotta play this reverse psychology shit. I gotta tell her what she wants to hear. Because at this point, you know, if I continue reprimanding her more than I am rewarding her, it's just gonna make things worse. You know, the hearts of men are easily swayed and all that. So, yeah, she is essentially breaking Cinder down to build her back up. And I think that I was like, holy shit. Did you see Cinder's face at that point? Like, she's just like, all right, I'm ready to fucking do this. And this is going to be a completely different Cinder, I think. Especially since she's going after the powers. She seemingly has Salem's blessing and all that other stuff. But yeah, holy shit, Shadow Wolf. Thank you very much for that generous super chat. How you doing, bud? Thank you very much. Holy fuck, that's insane. Hold on, let me see. Animalia555, thank you for the $5 super chat. Did anyone mention that there's an early version of Cinderella called Rhodopus? Or Rhodopus? I did look into that, actually. So there is I didn't look into it too much. I just know that is a thing. I don't know if anyone's mentioned it, though. Shadow, thank you so much, man. Shadow Wolf, thank you so much for that incredibly generous super chat. Hope you're doing well, buddy. I don't know if you had a comment there, but, or maybe you're just, you know, being super generous. I appreciate it. Happy holidays, my guy. Yeah, it wasn't that the first Cinderella, actually? Yeah. So yeah, I did look into that briefly. I just know that was the thing. That's the first Cinderella. And they were killed off by a better Cinderella, apparently. It's like there can only be one. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the name is also very I'm pretty sure they researched the name when they went with Rhodes for the guy. Cinder would lose her maiden vessel if she punished Cinder too much. I understand that, but I mean, you kill Cinder, the power goes to someone closest to her, which either would be Emerald, you know, if you're thinking rationally about who she would have at last in her thoughts, or if it's based on her crazy obsessive nature, Ruby Rose, because that's like her, you know, that's her nemesis at this point. But yeah, I also loved this scene right here. The dog's just getting up in Neo's like, get this fucking big ass dog away from me. Neo's reaction is just so hilarious. Like, both, I'm just like, all right, dog, like, nice doggy. Don't do anything. Don't hurt us, please. We're just here, just chilling. But yeah, Neo's a cat person. Oh boy. The creepy part is she has a statue of Ruby in her room. I don't think that's a statue. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter saying that, and I think a lot of people underestimate the fact that this is a figure for scale. I don't think it's a figure, like a literal, like, holy shit, why is Ruby in Cinder's room? Yeah, it's a size model. You know? Hold on, I was trying to make a better comparison, but I can't think of one. Yeah, they always use Ruby and stuff like that for models, so it's just weird that I mean, there was more than one person that I saw on Twitter mention that, so it was a little alarming. I was actually going to mention that at the end of the discussion, but might as well mention it here. But yeah, so yeah, Neo's not a fan of the big freaking dog. And, you know, you know what this reminds me of now? For any Red versus Blue fans out there, when Salem told Cinder, whether you get to her or my hound does first, either way you will have the maiden powers, I immediately thought of Carolina versus Tex for the package during the Spiral mission, right, where both of them were like fighting because like whoever got that package would get at the top of the leaderboards. And, like, I felt like that was the challenge here. Like, I just thought to myself, oh, shit, this is going to be a competition to see who's going to get to the goal first. And, I don't know, that's just what I thought. I was like, oh, my God, I wonder if these two are just going to be constantly, like, fighting each other to get to this goal. I don't think the Hound gives a shit as much as, obviously, Cinder cares more. And yeah, so you're gonna have both of Salem's pets, if you think about it, face off, and they have to find Penny. And I don't know if that's gonna mean they're just gonna siphon the magic, like, because we don't know. Like, I wish Miles or Carrie or Eddie could confirm. Like, is it possible to take a maiden's power away without killing them? You know, because I'm starting to think of the maiden power similar to like Jinchuriki, right? Where the magic is tied to your aura, and your aura is your life. So if you take the aura that has the maiden power, does that kill the person the same way that if you steal a Jinchuriki if you steal a tailed beast from a Jinchuriki, the host dies, you know? So yeah, I'm just thinking that because it's like, is it possible to get the maiden magic without killing Penny? You know, I think at this point, too, I think Penny has bigger problems. Like, she's literally under Watts' control. We might actually see the results of that tomorrow, which is not good at all. Like, at all. Especially with how they're going to either leave off the episode or how they're going to start it out. We don't even know how long it's going to be. God forbid it's like 30 minutes or like 20 minutes. Like, God forbid it's like the longest episode of the volume as the mid-season finale. But yeah, I'm expecting like a Penny Terminator situation, to be honest. And I don't say that because I want it. I'm just like, I I feel like I know what they're going for, at least for Penny. And unfortunately, you know, despite his best efforts, Oz is too late. Like, all these people have been duped. They're complete simps for Salem. I mean, partially I can understand. Have you seen her? But all of that aside, I do think, like, this is gonna slap them really hard in the face. If Salem gets the relic of create, like, what would Salem use it for? What would Salem create? You know what I mean? Like, what would be the first thing she would do with that staff? I mean, it has limitless power, so maybe she can just, like, shoot beams of energy. You know what I mean? Maybe she'll just use it as a weapon for a while. Who knows? But I am looking respectfully. Yeah, that's what they all say. Her children? Well, that's not creation. Remember, bringing people back from the dead is not creation. And I think the staff would be a bit more objective in that. In that, it's just weird because it's like it's gonna be the first time we see it in use. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of hard to see what exactly they're gonna do for it. Kermit Clinton, I missed the chance to say. I missed the chance to say this earlier. I actually have an OC character with a semblance similar to Rhodes. So when I saw his semblance, I was actually really glad to see it. That's pretty cool. That's dope. Yeah. Again, like a lot of us kind of had similar like reminders of other characters like Colossus or, like, for me at least, Greed from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. So yeah, the semblance is pretty cool. Just Ryan, thank you for the $5 super chat. Hey Arnold, I couldn't make it to the stream today. Been celebrating my 20th birthday. Just thought I might donate because you're awesome. Dude, don't donate to me on your birthday. I appreciate it, but I don't deserve that, all right? Happy 20th birthday, by the way. God, I remember when I was 20 years old. Anyways, happy birthday, my guy. I appreciate you tuning in very, very much. Can we get some happy birthdays in the chat for Ryan? Great to hear that. Hope it was a good day. Hope you had a lot of cake. Jordan Peltonen. Hope I'm saying that right. I apologize if I'm not. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Hey Arnold, tuning in late. Did you notice that Rhodes' swords, it's similar to the sword Cinder used in the present? At least the shape is the same. Tweeted that at you. Don't know if you saw. Yes, we talked about that at length, actually. I did see someone on Twitter earlier this week post a lot of, like, comparisons. So we did go through all the comparisons, and one of the ones that we made was the sword, in fact. So we did notice that. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. Blue Rat 138, welcome, my guy. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for the super chat. Cinder is going to get to Penny fast. She doesn't want to get hounded by Salem again. I'm gonna give you that $5 super chat back, my guy. I'll figure out how to do that later. All right. Moving on. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, everyone is simping for Salem. Unfortunate. We do get to see Winter in her cool new outfit and her dope-ass design, her ponytail. She looks great, by the way. I'm really glad to see Winter again. And I really hope that, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like maybe Winter, I really hope Winter carves her own path, like what Weiss said, right? It's, you know, we all got to carve our own way. And she's still taking orders from Ironwood, even though he isn't in the best mindset right now. She's leading the Aesops. And I still wonder, like, what's her fate going to be like? You know what I mean? Because we still have so many plot lines to tie up, right? We have Willow and Whitley. We have Winter and Weiss. We have, you know, Watts and you know, Salem and Penny. We have... you know, what are we gonna see Ironwood and not Ironwood? Are we gonna see Crow and Robin again next episode with Watts? Are they gonna somehow break out of the prison cell now that you know, Watts has Ironwood's scroll? There's so many. There's only, like, realistically, even with tomorrow's episode, we have 7 episodes left, 8 episodes until, you know, with tomorrow's episode, and it just feels like there's so much left to do. And so much more to tell. And yeah, I love her ponytail as well. I really, really like Winter's new design here. You know, it might not be professional and uptight for an Atlas Elite, but I prefer this way more. I prefer this way more. And obviously she has like the brace that's like kind of keeping her, you know, her posture all in check and all that stuff, like the guards and all that stuff. Like, I think her outfit just looks really great. She's commanding the Aesops now. They get the distress call here from Jean, and unfortunately, the last time Yang saw these people, she bodied two of them, right? Vine and Elm. So unfortunately, I wonder if, I don't know if Team Juniper knows that, right? I don't know if Jean and Ren know what went down with the Aesops and Team RWBY. So obviously it was pretty funny that Yang was the first one to respond, and she was like, "Oh boy, you guys," you know what I mean? Because it's like, well, why would you say that? It's like, oh, we had quite the night the other night, you know. And this is the morning of, by the way. So this is the morning of. So we have 24 hours remaining. So we're gonna have the day, and we're gonna have the night. And I don't think Atlas is surviving. Like, I think the next time the sun rises, Atlas is going to be in shambles. Yeah, I think the next 4 episodes will be during the day. I think the next 4 episodes will be during the day, and the next 3 episodes after that will be during the night. And on the final episode of the volume, it'll be the morning after. And, yeah, the Atlas and Mantle are just going to be a fucking mess, to put it lightly. I think it's going to be the fall of Atlas now. I wonder if, well, here's another thing too. One of all of the episodes for this volume have been one-word episodes. One-word titles. That's the trend so far, 6 episodes in. So I feel like there's going to be one episode called Fall. There's going to be one episode, I feel like there has to be an episode called Fall, right? Where Atlas falls out of the sky. That actually just might spoil the episode if the episode is called Fall. Creation might be a name of an episode if they actually use the relic this volume. Yeah, there's I don't know how many other Descent. Yeah. We're gonna get really technical with it now. Control. Yeah, there's a lot that they're going to be able to do with that. Pain. Oh, that's going to be the finale episode title, Pain. Yep. That's a meme waiting to happen. Holy shit. But yeah, I was not expecting this, by the way. Also, we still haven't seen the sulfurfish yet. So I'm actually like really surprised by that. We might actually see it in the next batch. I thought that River of Grimm was the inevitable sulfurfish. But, I mean, we still have 7 episodes after tomorrow's episode to figure out what exactly is going to be the case. But there's a disturbance. Things are shaking up a bit here in good old Atlas and Mantle. And, it's not a good shake-up. It's more like a shakedown. How's that? Yeah, there you go. It's a shakedown because the fucking Grimm made it through the defenses that Ironwood has been trying so hard to keep under wraps. And it's just, what did I say, guys? Remember a couple chapters ago, what I say? I was like, the only thing that Salem is going to do is she is going to fly into Atlas with her whale. She's going to access the vault, and she's going to get the relic. Well, we can check one of those boxes off, okay? That's all Salem has done. She literally just flew in on her Grimm, and she's still sitting on her throne. That's all she's done so far. She has done absolutely nothing. The next time Salem does something, she's going to get the vault. She's going to make it to the vault or the relic. And then the next thing she's going to do is she's going to have the relic in her hands. Now, I don't fucking know if the relic needs a password like the lamp, right? I don't know if there's a being in the staff. I think there is. especially with how the intro portrays that there's like 2 shades of smoke. There's like a dark blue for Jin, and then there's a light blue for the staff. So I just wonder what the password is if there is a being in that staff, you know? I think the bigger concern, however, is like nobody knows this. Maybe Salem does, but the only people that know that that Atlas is gonna fall out of the sky is Ozpin and Team RWBY and company, right? I feel like even the villains are gonna grab this relic out of the vault, and then they're just gonna be like, "What the fuck is happening? We're falling out of the sky." So, how long is tomorrow's episode? I don't know. Oh, is the thumbnail out? I have no clue. I'm not on. Hold on. Let me check really quick on good old YouTube. I will wait. Okay, yep. There it is. I see it. I don't think we have the runtime yet, but we do have. I'll show the thumbnail at the very end of the discussion because I don't want to spoil anybody. So, for those of you who will be sticking around, you guys can see it, but I will show it after the discussion, which is, we're literally at the very end of it here. So, Old Faithful goes off, basically, like that River of Grimm, or that River of Grimm made it to the very end of the river, and just shot up like some freaking, like some Yellowstone Park geysers, and just, like, and then, like, you know, GG boys, everything else kind of fell through the way that, you know, the way that it was planned. Ironwood's just standing there, mouth agape, like, oh shit, what are we gonna do? The freaking Sentinels, they popped off. I mean, and this all happened really, really quickly. All anyone can really do is just stand there in awe, and Salem's like, yo, it's time. Let's go. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, like, at this point, you know what I mean? Like, you can't really do much. All you can really do is just watch in horror. But the Grimm move in. They deactivate the fucking shields. I thought it was going to be very different. I thought because Watts had Ironwood scroll, he was going to hit some, like, beep boop, some buttons, and boom, like, the shield would go down. But similar to how all technology in Atlas works, it's pretty fucked up. It's pretty flawed. You just take out 1 or 2 of those towers and the whole network goes down. Similar, it's the same philosophy as the freaking as the CCT towers. You know, you take down 2 and then the whole net, like, and now they're just like naked. They're just sitting there waiting for something to happen. I will say though, shout out to these crops. I do like the idea that that they had the crops here showcase, because remember last volume when Ironwood was like, oh, the artificial climate will keep food supplies and civilians safe. So even if they were up in the sky, they would be able to facilitate, like, making, you know, growing food and staying alive. You know? The situation now, however, and what I'm kind of thinking on is like if they were to be able to save Mantle, like I don't know, like I kind of like look at RWBY's plan now and I'm just like, well, we're kind of stuck here now because of you. And if we fail now, it's honestly because you prevented Atlas from being able to try, like, now Atlas has to defend. Like, they have to fight no matter what, whether they want to or not. And there's, you know, there's not much that they can really do other than do their best to defend. And, you know, you still have Mantle down bottom that's you know, trying their very best as well. Let's see. Let me get through some of these super chats. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to, like, finish up the conversations and all that stuff. The writers weren't kidding when they said Volume 8 is dense. Also, how is Ren going to respond if the Aesops mention that they saw what happened to Nora? I don't think they would mention that. I think, like, that is going to be, I think that might be, a bit hard for Ren to deal or swallow if once they get back in touch with Team RWBY, right? Because they're going to get on the airship. They're going to head back to Atlas. They'll be back within communication range. RWBY will be able to contact with Yang, and then they'll be able to explain both of their situations, what they've been both up to, and maybe what happened to Nora, and maybe Ren will just decide to stay by her side instead of going through with the mission. But yeah, the volume is very dense. I mean, there's 14 chapters this volume, so they had to tack on an extra 2 episodes this volume just to tell everything, you know? So we still have a lot more to go through for that as well. Kermit Clinton, thank you again for the $5 super chat. I'm a very simple man. I see Winter, Harriet, Elm, and Salem all in the same episode. Enough said. Interesting. Oh boy. Luca Blight, Fall was volume 3, episode 6. Doubt that would happen. Oh, that is true. That is true. I guess it will be Descent. It'll just be a synonym. It'll just be a different way of saying it. Phantonium Ally, I like that name. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Hey Arnold, been a fan of your channel since season 1, and I literally only watched the show with you. Your reactions give me something to look forward to so much. Love you, man. Keep it up. Thank you so much. Thank you for the kind words. I hope you guys continue to look forward to the reactions. Obviously, the reaction to this episode will be posted tomorrow, and obviously tomorrow's reaction will be posted on YouTube next weekend for the live chat, for like the live premiere, and that's gonna be what we leave off with until February. So I hope you look forward to it. Thank you very much for the kind words and the support. I greatly appreciate it. Let's see. Holy crap! William Pendragon. Oh boy. What do you have to report today, my friend? Y'all done goofed. This is Private William Pendragon. This is our darkest hour. The enemy is at our doorstep. All forces have been mobilized and defenses prepared. Me and my squadron are on the front lines. This is for our home, our people, and all of Remnant. We do not expect to survive. Semper Fi. Yikes. That's all I can really say, dude. Well, I'm wishing the very best. I don't think anyone's making it out of this volume. You know, with the exception of Team RWBY, you know, plot armor and all that. But yeah. That's a category 5 bruh moment. Yeah. Well, the whale has Monstra has landed. I repeat, the whale has landed. And the whale brings with it gifts. The gifts that keep on giving, actually, if I might add. The Grim. And it's pretty hard to notice there, but if you look at the bottom right before the Beowulf shows up, there's an apathy. There's an apathy there. Like every Grim, it's like Super Smash Brothers, right? Like everyone is here. The Grim, literally every Grim is here. They got a Beowulf. They have a freaking Teryx. They got the Borbatusks. They have the Apathy. They have the winged Berengals. They have the Borbatusks. They have the Megaliath. The Manticores. Like every Grim under the sun. It's a Grim fiesta over here. And, yeah. And the Whale Grim, by the way, which I don't think the Whale's gonna do much. It's just like, also you got a bunch of flying Grim in the background, too. Yeah, it's not looking good. Not looking good in the slightest. And so at this point, so this is essentially, also, slow chat is now removed. Freedom, everybody. Freedom. Also, really quick, shout out to Concept Art, as always. We have the barn, a young Cinder, the glass unicorn lobby, Cinder's room, and Cinder's room at Salem's place, and that is not a statue of RWBY. That is drawn to scale. That is drawn to scale, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I can say. All right. Okay, hold on. Okay, y'all need to stop spamming. Okay. Well, hold on. Well, we'll do one of these. And we'll do one of these. There we go. That should fix it. Anyways, that was the episode. I consider this to be the startup. I consider tomorrow's episode to be the equivalent of the Battle of Beacon, the Battle for Beacon, which was when Adam showed up and the Grimm were overrunning the school, and the and the Grimm were overrunning the Amity Coliseum. I'm considering that to be the equivalent now. We're going to see students fighting on the ground. We're going to see huntsmen and huntresses defending, the happy huntresses. I honestly think that this might... I don't know how they're going to keep it like... I don't know how it's going to be that impactful of being like finale worthy, but also like, hey, we still have more to tell right after this. You know what I mean? So... I don't know, man. Like, I'm expecting a bloodbath. Like, I really don't know what they're going to leave us off with. I don't know if they'll go all the way in giving us something, like, crazy because we're coming back in a few weeks. But, also, King Evie, thank you very much for becoming a channel member. I appreciate it. Also, Annie Matrix, I love your username. You're a simp for Salem, and so am I. I prefer the term man of culture, but I appreciate the $50 super chat. Thank you very much. I appreciate the support. But yeah, like I don't know if someone's gonna... I don't think anyone's gonna die necessarily. I think how the episode might end off is we're going to see what Penny looks like. Like, the last thing we see is gonna be Penny. I think that's it. Also, really quick, I am going to show the thumbnail for tomorrow's chapter. If you do not want to see it, thank you very much for tuning in. I greatly appreciate the support. You guys have been hanging out with me for the last 3 hours during the discussion. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys very, very much. My reaction will be posted as per usual tomorrow at 12 o'clock noon. I hope you guys enjoy the finale batch, the mid-season finale for tomorrow, and everything else in between. But if you do not want to be spoiled, please leave now. I'm giving you ample time to do so. And we are also going to close out with the poll that we're going to be going down with for this week. So let me pull this up really quick. Let's see. All right, give me 1 second. All right, here it is. Oh my god. I'm scared. I'm like really scared. So I think people are saying the episode is 19 minutes. Oh boy. Uh-oh. That's not good. Okay, so I'm going to show it right now. 3, 2, 1, now. I said, uh-oh, that's not very good, because Yang and Jean are in handcuffs. So, they're arrested. Oh my god. Oh, fuck off, man. Ren's probably, like, hogtied in the back somewhere. Oh, man, dude. Yeah, so, I mean, she's just following orders, guys. She's just following orders. That's what she's supposed to do, right? They're wanted. They're wanted criminals. I mean, and she can't really act out. She did give them a heads up in the last season, right? She gave them a heads up, like, hey, you need to get out of here before I have to actually, like, follow the law and follow the rules. But now the Aesops are here, so she can't really, like, give them any more leeway. But yeah, motherfuckers are under arrest. And who the fuck is flying the airship now? I guess it was always Marrow then. Yeah, Marrow and Harriet aren't around. I think they're probably the ones on the cockpit. Yeah, Ren's probably maybe like sitting off to the side or something, just like fuming right now, just absolutely pissed off. Yeah, so the episode tomorrow, I believe, is from what I've seen, some people are saying it's 18 minutes, 50 seconds. So, yeah, that's the duration. That's almost 20 minutes. Holy shit. Yeah, so we're going to get a lot for tomorrow. He's behind. Oh, yeah, he is behind John. I see his feet. Hey, you guys have a good eye. But yeah, that's tomorrow's episode, ladies and gentlemen. And that's the episode. No title. I don't know the title. We just know the thumbnail and the duration, which is odd. No title or description. Yeah, so there's no title or description revealed yet. But yeah, that's tomorrow's chapter. It's not looking good. Also, I'll just go back to that real quick. It looks really dark outside, by the way. Like prior to this, it actually looked really bright out, but they actually might be like in the swarm of Grimm right now that are overrunning Atlas. Weiss versus Winter. I don't know. Last week's episode description was, "It's time," which is what Salem said during this episode, and it's what Ironwood said the episode before that, right? When Penny, like, when Amity went up, he was like, "It's time." And then Salem was like, "It's time." So I'm wondering if who else is going to say it's time at this point, because I don't like that parallel already. You know? Anyways, as per usual, we are going to close the live stream out with Season 2, Round 6 of the Opinionated Pointless Polls. But of course, as per usual, we have to get through the results of last week. So in a strikingly, in a shocking turn of events that actually shocked nobody. I mean, let's be honest, actually shocked nobody. Dark mode, absolute, like, anyone who lives on the internet will tell you that dark mode is king. Look at my fucking background right now for freaking, like, do you really think I would do anything less? You think I'm gonna be one, hold on. You think I'm gonna be one of these people that does, hold on, where is it? That does this? Ah! Hold on. All right, I gotta go back. Okay, yeah, we're not about that around there. We're not about that, okay? We live in 2020, goddammit. I just blinded half of my audience just to prove a point. And I'd do it again if I had the chance. No, I'm just kidding. No, I wouldn't do that. Flashbang incoming. All right, anyways. 2,045 votes. 11.9 said light mode. 11.9 of you, please unfollow. Please unsubscribe. Please uninstall your internet. You're doing it wrong. All right, let me just say that right now. And then on YouTube, a bigger turnout. I think this is the most votes we've ever had. 12,000 votes. 88% to 12%, which is the same turnout, which is pretty crazy. But yeah. So, today's poll is going to be a little different. Maybe RWBY inspired. I don't know. But I want you guys to take it seriously, so please do. Welcome to Season 2, Round 6 of the Opinionated Pointless Polls. This week's question may or may not be a reference to RWBY, but I digress. Simply put, what is your favorite season of the year? Winter, spring, summer, or fall? 4 days, 20 hours, because we have to close this in on Wednesday, because that's when we're doing the next stream. So that's going to go live on Twitter right now. And I will post the YouTube one right after the discussion. You guys can let me know in the chat right here. I felt like everybody was going to pick summer because, oh, summer vacation, no school, woohoo. But, like, as you get older, like, when you no longer go to school, that becomes irrelevant. You know, because you still have to, like, work every day and all that shit. So I'd be very interested to find out what people's thoughts were. Right now, it's 20% winter, 20% spring, 40% summer, 20% fall. All right, we'll give that some time. But yeah, that is the discussion, everybody. Thank you guys all so very much for tuning in, for attending the live stream discussion. Kermit Clinton, thank you very much for the follow-up on the last super chat there for the $5 super chat. Don't worry why light mode bothers. We'll fight until the bitter end. Oh, don't worry my light mode brothers. We'll fight this to the No. Nope. Not my subscriber. All right. Hashtag not my subscriber. Anyways. Oh, wow. Fall's actually winning right now with 32%. Anyways, that's going to do it for me. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in and for hanging out with me. Hit that, smash that like button, destroy that subscribe button, all that other shit that you're supposed to say as a YouTuber. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me for this week. Like I said, next week's live stream discussion will be on Wednesday. December 23rd. At 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, like this week, we're going to start at 4:30, just so I can have about 30 minutes to chat with you guys, where the discussion's going to start at 5, and it'll run until we have nothing else to talk about. And my reaction to this chapter will be posted tomorrow at 12 o'clock noon, as per usual, on YouTube. And then the week after. But ultimately, I really hope you guys enjoyed the discussion. Thank you guys so much for hanging out and tuning in. I hope you enjoy the reaction for tomorrow. I hope you enjoy the mid-season finale. Fingers crossed that we can all make it out of this alive. I really fucking hope, like, I'm not absolutely, like, devastated with whatever this finale is going to give us until February. But hopefully we can all make it out together. I'm hoping for the best. I'm expecting the worst. But with all that said, also, I hope you guys enjoy your weekend as well. I'll still be around after RWBY goes on break. Like I said, I'm going to be doing some red versus blue stuff, some other content on YouTube. I'm going to be streaming a lot of gaming content on twitch.tv/murderofbirds. So if you guys are interested in checking that out, be sure to follow me at twitch.tv/murderofbirds. I'd really appreciate it. But that's going to do it for me. Happy holidays as well. Even though I'm going to see you guys before the holidays really start, but I just feel like saying that now. But that's going to do it for me. Thank you guys all very much. Enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy your weekend. And I will see you guys all next week for the mid-season finale. Take care. Bye.